Hello, and welcome to the Wandering Isles. My name is Ken. I will be your DM for this evening. Thank you for coming to the inaugural stream of Flying Orc at all. This is crazy. Lots of people hopping off in chat, having a good time. I'm here with some amazing D&D players, some awesome ones that I'm very excited for you guys to meet. I want to say thank you to everyone who's sitting in chat, everyone who worked their absolute asses off for this. I'm going to show off some of the work that some of the people on our team did. We have people running socials, we have people doing videos, we have so much going on behind the scenes that I couldn't do this by myself. So I'm really excited to have these guys here. Definitely pulling my weight. So thank you so much. Before we begin, I think I should take a minute to introduce each of you and say a little bit, promo some socials maybe. Get some stuff out there. Oh, the song. Let's go. I'll start with you, Biz. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Bonsoir, mesdames et messieurs. My name is Busy B. I'm a very busy guy doing busy things, and I love to play with these guys on this table. And tonight I'm playing Toshitsugu Hatsu.
Oh yeah.
And I wish you all a wonderful time.
You don't even need to do an accent, man. Next
but
up,
I want to.
Next up, we have the Emerald Collective twins themselves. John, if you wouldn't mind starting.
Oh, well, hello there. I'm John, and I am a twin, beard twin, to my beardly brother over there, who I'm very jealous of. That beard is that beard we mine one day.
Is that how it works? If you defeat him, can you take his beard and just double?
Yeah.
Like,
there can only be one.
Yeah, like Highlander.
The ultimate goal of Santa Claus. I mean, why do you think there's so many people who cosplay as Santa? You know, they're all like out in the open. They're letting you know what's coming down the line. They're going to be taking on Santa. It's happening. It's coming. The
uprising.
Yeah, the uprising. Man, I played Westland. Yeah. So hello. Hi. How is everyone? Hello.
Ryan, my other Emerald Collective twin, how are you doing?
I'm good. Excited for this. I'll introduce myself. I'm Ryan, aka Deranged Rhino, as most of you probably know by now. Yes, you usually see me over on the Emerald Collective in a bunch of wonderful games such as Software Saga and Radiant Citadel and stuff like that. But tonight I have the pleasure, the privilege of being able to play here on Flying Orc with these wonderful people. I'm going to give you a little bit about my character, if that's cool. So tonight I am going to be playing a Madriana Bloodfist. She stands at about 5'10", with this long, straight, ghostly white hair. Comes down to just below the shoulders. She's got piercing blue turquoise eyes, which can be seen, but only those can be seen as she wears a mask over her face all the time. She's athletic, but still muscular. She's toned, but also still incredibly flexible. And she's quiet, but she's always in consideration of those around her.
Oh. Well, maybe you guys are lucky enough to see Madriana in just a few seconds. Richard, why don't you introduce yourself, pal?
My name is Richard. I'm going to be playing Slate. I'm going to leave a lot of Slate to be discovered, but what I'm going to tell you, he's on a search for his identity, and that I suppose he sticks out in a way that the only thing you remember after meeting him is that you met him. You forget a lot that there is. He's good at blending in, and you're going to see that as we play together, and you're going to see his story as it unfolds. And I'm going to leave it short and sweet for the minute, folks.
Yeah. That's it. And now we have our dapper man, Kian. If you want to introduce yourself, pal. I've worn a suit for the intro.
I've had to wear a suit, go full cosplay. Hi everyone, my name is Kian, and this evening and throughout this adventure I'm going to be playing the enigmatic Dash Heidman, a very charming man who has infiltrated high society, and amongst other places.
Gee, I wonder where you got the inspiration for that.
I don't know, it just came to me. You can check me out on TikTok as well, Kian Griffin 6, if you fancy football manager content. Bit of a change from this kind of stuff. Super excited to be playing with these handsome gentlemen, and I have been told at the end of the campaign someone will have to shave their beard. It's not going to be me.
I'm claiming it's not me either, so John, sorry, buddy.
First to die in combat.
That's right. I've already slipped a poison into your drinks, lads.
I really wish I wasn't
leave
drinking
the
when you said that.
campaign and don't die, then I don't have to cut my beard off, right? Cool.
Sorry, it's you have to stay there. Once you've taken the seat, it's fulfilled.
Okay.
Prophecy.
Automatic death if you leave. You've already shaved your beard if you leave. The dice have been cast.
Next up, we have Mr. Rory himself.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Wandering Isles. My name is Rory, and I'll be playing the character Eos Tinchak. Shrouded in a mystery from a lineage of those within mystery themselves. This adventure is a story too untold. Watch the shroud and the fog lifts, and the adventure begins.
Hell yeah. So one of the things that Mr. Rory has done for us, and working with a few of the other members, is make a very, very cool video for us. So what do you think? We show people before we get started? Is that right? Should we do that?
Hell yeah.
Absolutely.
Let's do it.
Well then, I would like to introduce you to the Wandering Isles. Long ago, in the world of Araness, magic once danced in the air and coursed through the veins of every being. It was a time of grandeur, but also of chaos, as people vied for dominance using the essence of magic itself. This contest of powers led to the Fracture, a cataclysmic event that shattered the weave of magic, leaving the world broken and alone. As the dust settled, Araness was born once again, but at a great cost. Magic vanished, not to whisper in the wind for over 75 years, until the birth of 4 individuals who would come to be known as the emissaries of Paragon. These heroes became the defenders, wielding magical abilities to protect these lands. Yet in their final battle, known as the Battle of the Emissaries, their power nearly raised the world anew. The city of Timaroth was obliterated, and with it, the heroes and their legacy. Now, over a millennia later, magic is a rare curse, feared and regulated by those in power. The world stands by those who are yearning for a future where magic and peace can coexist. As our tale unfolds, the weave of magic stirs once more, hinting at a renaissance. There are those who believe that this is a sign that they are doomed to repeat history's darkest day, possibly on a scale that fractures the world itself. Araness is on the cusp of a new era, one that could potentially be of harmony, or one that threatens to plunge it into chaos once again. Our story begins here, in a world on the edge of change, where new heroes are destined to rise, shaping the fate of Araness and its magic forevermore. Join us as we embark on this journey through these lands, where legends live and die by the sword, where every choice echoes through the annals of time, and the fate of the world hangs in the balance. Welcome to the Wandering Isles. God damn, that was good. Hell yeah. I love it.
Great job, Rory.
Great job, Rory. Great job, all of you, as well. Biz and stuff. We're just working. You guys are working your butts off for this. So, hell yeah. Should we begin? How you guys feeling? You ready?
Absolutely.
Let's
Let's
do it.
go.
TPK, TPK.
Love a TPK.
I do not want a TPK.
So
Can I
tonight
just
we
say,
are.
if we're doing with that, we know who has to go first, so they lose their beard. So TPK everyone, but you know who goes first.
Listen. You gotta bring the TPK from the EC. That's what we do.
Hell yeah, bring it in. Tonight we're gonna do a pseudo session 0. I wanted to introduce our characters in a unique way. I didn't want to do the "so we meet in a tavern" thing. I was trying to avoid that kind of shtick. So what we'll do is I will be giving small segments tonight to introduce each of the characters. I'm going to do what's called the night before. So this is the night before they leave on an adventure that will be explained shortly. And in doing so, I hope to introduce the nuances of some of these characters that are just excellently woven. You're all in charge of your backstories. You wrote amazing content and stuff, and I'm very excited to meet some of these NPCs and characters that you guys really put a lot of work into. I'm very, very excited. We will be starting with the elusive Amadriana, and where we will join her is in a city, on an island, between an island, on another island. Amadriana lives in a city known as the City of Gold, not because it's made of gold, but because that is where gold flows freely. When you're there, you can buy anything. You can get anything. With Amadriana, she comes from a noble heritage, something that stands out to her uniquely. I know you did a little bit of an intro for me already, Rhino. How would you like to introduce your character?
So, Amadriana wouldn't be one for congregating with the masses. She prefers to sneak around and keep a watchful eye upon everyone and everything. She very much appeals only to herself, in that she considers herself to be above a lot of people, not because she wants to, but because she's been forced to believe that. With that, though, comes an air of not entitlement, but just sheer will of a family name. However, it is something that she's not happy about, and it is something that she is trying to slowly change in any way she can.
The city that you come from is named Verduar. And that city, it's known for strong criminal presence. This is not a city that your guards would go to. This is not a city that has any kind of enforcement. This is a wild, wild place to be from. Where we join Amadriana is a place known as the Spiv. It's a tavern filled with many familiar faces to you. A lot of people came to see you off, knowing that tomorrow a journey starts for you. You look down into your hand at what is an invitation, inviting you to a place to hone your skills, to get better, to improve, to become what you were meant to be. You look around. One face that stands out to you is a person known as Syl. She has been with you for a long time. You grew up not in her shadow, but in her presence. We'll consider her to be an aunt of sorts. Well, are you ready?
As ready as I'll ever be, I guess.
It's a big day.
Yes, it's definitely going to be one that I'm not used to.
When you come back, you'll be far better than when you left. Are you excited for the journey at least?
I am. And between you and me, I'm more excited about learning about something different to this.
Yeah. But I'll say the same thing as I say every time you go away. Bring me back something nice.
Yeah. I'll see if I can find you a little glass pony or something, will I?
She just chuckles. She slides this kind of concoction down to you. It's like an alcohol pop of sorts. Like it's alcohol light.
Yeah.
As you take a look around, you see a familiar face approaching as your mother enters the room.
I stand out of respect and wait for her to arrive to me, and then I'll obviously give her a hug. And
she looks down towards you. May.
Mother. Are you ready for this?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure I'm ready to see you go. But I understand why you must.
I appreciate you doing this for me. I know what it must have taken.
Yeah, well, I know a guy.
Yes, I'm pretty sure you do.
Your father's not, he's not going to come down and say goodbye, but he's just very busy.
Yes, of course he is.
Just enjoy the silence. The city can be very loud. Very loud.
Yeah. I will say, there will be aspects I miss. Obviously the familiarity of the people and the places I know, but therein lies the opportunity to learn more.
Well, yes, but there's more than just opportunity here. We both know why you're going, and we both know why you must. But that doesn't mean I want you to forget where you come from. And she looks at her hand and she takes off this ring you've seen on her since you were a baby, basically. It's this ring with this big red ruby on it, with a symbol upon it that is emblazoned of your family crest. And she gives it to you. I know you have sticky fingers, but this is a loan. I want you to bring this back to me.
Okay. I will make sure to.
That's more than
And
just a
she'll-
ring. That's a key. You can open doors with this. Show it to the right person. Consider it a calling card.
I understand, Mother. But as I said to you before, if I make this journey, I make it under my own name.
I know. But it doesn't hurt. Just to have that extra bit of support if you need it. Just keep it safe.
I will. Are you going to be okay?
Yeah. The things that happen to you would not dare happen to me.
Adriana kind of nods in like a solemn agreement of, okay, I understand.
Just... You're gonna see some things there that you have not seen here.
Oh? Like what?
You are aware of your physiology, your abilities, your advantages in this field. But you're about to encounter a world of people who can do things that you and I never dreamed of.
When she mentions about physiology, there's what I would consider probably a very visible response of like a kind of, movement of Adriana's back and stuff, and she's kind of uncomfortable at the thought of it.
Naturally, yeah. There are people there who can help your journey, and there are people there that can hurt it. You're going to be given an opportunity to see what you're really made of, and some of those people will try and use it for their advantage, much the way they would here, but perhaps with a different motivation. Don't be afraid to lean on the people there to help you. She hesitates for a moment and she just says, there are some people there who can do some extraordinary things. There is a gentleman there named Chance. When you have time, approach him alone. He is a vice principal of sorts, someone who takes far more responsibility than he should, but you show him that ring and he'll remember where he came from. Just useful if you need a better dorm, better comforts. Just remember
to get
that.
out of detention.
Exactly. And just remember that the best place to put pressure is on the weakest point.
And again, there's that uncomfortable movement from Amadriana.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes. Yes. Weak points.
A few gentlemen enter, and they're usually what would be considered part of your father's entourage, signaling that he may be on the way. Whether or not you wanted to be there for that would be optional.
I won't leave. However, I will kind of dip into a darker corner and just watch the people around. I want to keep an eye on people. Especially I want to keep an eye on folks that aren't necessarily affiliated with my family. And
there are
see if
plenty here, yeah. This is like we'll call it a family event. There's a lot of faces here from people that you would recognize. But there are definitely people here who are just city folk.
Okay.
There is
be keeping an eye on if they say anything particular about me or my family.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I want to see if there's anyone, because this is very obvious that I'm going somewhere.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that nobody's trying to plan anything.
Sure. There is a almost audible gasp as what would be for you normal, but for most of these people, one of the biggest men that they have ever seen enters this room. This doorway is 7 foot easy, and he needs to crouch to walk in. He has muscles on muscles. He has strength beyond measure. Peak physical human. As he steps in and walks, there is nothing but silence, out of fear, out of respect, out of self-protection. The man comes in with a buzz undercut, a very clean suit. On one sleeve is this dragon woven into it. He walks over to the bar and he picks up a pint that was just sitting there, as if he owned it. And the pint barely fits in his hand. He looks around the room. Isn't this a fucking party? And people just start talking with a lull. Nobody is saying anything disrespectful. If anything, they're barely saying anything at all. They're talking about how big this man is, or how he looks much bigger than the stories even told. He's clearly looking around for you, but you're pretty good at hiding. You sit in your corner. He approaches his wife, who is a much smaller woman, and he's talking to her.
Can I make out what he's saying to her?
Yeah, your passive perception is fucking abnormal, so...
Plus, I'm able to hear without hearing, so to speak.
Oh, that's right, yeah. He's like, where is she? Your mother just shrugs. She's not selling you out.
What does his temperament seem like?
What's his name? Jimmy Tightlips from The Simpsons. He's like, I ain't saying nothing.
Yeah. What does his temperament seem?
He just believes her. She has no reason to lie. He's not angry about it, but he looks like he's one dude bumping into him away from just destroying this whole place. He's built like that. Like, he has no reason to hold back, because why would he?
He doesn't need to. Okay. Then Adriana stands up and makes it known as she walks across the floor with her heels, from her heeled boots.
Do you have like your mask on or off, or?
Oh, it's always on.
Always on. Got it.
Always on. He would know that though as well. She walks over, gently rests her hand upon her mum's back as she kind of sidles up next to her. Good evening, Father.
You're late to your own party.
I was observing, as I was taught to.
He does this kind of crack on his neck, and every bone that cracks you can feel it almost in your chest like a kick drum. Like he's just gargantuan. He's a huge person. You don't feel necessarily intimidation. What you feel is probably quite different to that, but you can tell without looking at these people around you. You can sense their fear. You can almost smell it. It's this palpable thing in the air. He is here. Like, if anyone runs this city, it is this man in front of you. That is a big thing. You haven't forgotten what you're doing, have you?
I'll never forget.
You will go, find what you can, learn what you can, and I will get my soldier. And since I seemingly have to tell you this, don't fuck it up. He almost has this sort of grimace under his mouth. He's just so angry all the time. You can see it in the way his lip quivers with almost rage as he's talking to his own family. That, like, There is no holding back. He is not the kind of person who shoots first, asks questions later. He's the guy who punches first and never asks a question. He doesn't have to. Like, he looks at you like an asset.
All of the tendons in Amadriana's body pulls tight. Her back naturally straightens a little bit just with that tension.
Yeah.
She grips ever so slightly stronger into her mother's back.
You can tell that your mother's aware of it, but is not compromising your, like, what you're doing, like your feelings. Yeah. He's not known as the most insightful person, let's say. He doesn't really care how you feel. Like,
yeah. He doesn't need to worry about that. Yeah.
No.
I understand what I am to you, Father. I understand what it means to carry this name. I will do what's right.
Yeah. And if you try any more of this shit, we'll find you. Enough. Go do what you were told to do. Come back. Do your fucking job. And he walks over to a bunch of guys that are there and just starts immediately business talk. Like, no greeting, no like, hey, none of that shit. He walks straight over to these people who are like half the size of him, but still fucking impressive specimens. And he's sending them out. He's dispatching people. He's making different things. You get the feeling that this isn't... Like, he thinks of every scenario. And he's watching out for the most likely. It's Occam's razor. He's thinking about, like, the most likely scenario, and he's going for that as absolute fact. So... the fact that he's calling you on something means he's picking up on something. A behavior that he sees in a lot of people. He recognizes when someone is trying to run. He's a predator. He hunts prey for a living. That is what he does. So there's a sudden sense of what does he know and what doesn't he know running through your brain. But there's also that feeling of just after a fight, you have that kind of like that adrenaline's pumping, but you don't have anywhere to outlet that anger, that aggression, or that tension.
With that, Amadriana leans into her mother, hugging her once more, leans tight into her ear, and says, next time I come home, it'll be to take him down. And she lets go of her mother. Walks outside.
There's a gasp, but just below her breath. Like, she understands where you're coming from, but she is terrified for you, because I don't think for a second she thinks that you could do that. But as you walk out, you stand in the streets of this familiar city. You've been here your whole life. Like, you haven't left this island, this small island, almost Manhattan-esque. So many buildings crammed onto it. It is just, it's an infinite possibility in a very small space.
And with that, to release some of this now built-up tension, she takes off into one of the back alleys, leaps from bin to wall to fire escape, carries on until she reaches up onto the roofs, and just then continues to make her way across the rooftops, over the archways, up to that center point building that sits high above everywhere else, where she would sit and view the city below.
You sit there and you stare at what is respectfully known to you as just your father's building, his enterprise. It's this massive building surrounded by a swell of small buildings, and as you sit on this roof and stare at it, what it represents to you is different to any other person. To some people it represents a symbol of power or fear or control. To some people it represents wealth and money and domination. To you it just represents home, a home that you never felt truly a part of. And so there's this conflict within you about how to proceed as you stare at this monolith to everything that doesn't represent you, everything that you stand against.
And in that split second of epiphany, realizing this, she says to herself, one day it won't be out of fear. One day it'll be out of love.
Damn. Nice. You stay there for a while, the moon rises. Far beyond that moon is another fractured one. That always seemed to captivate you more. Something broken in the sky, but still shining beautifully. Something so visible, but so fractured. Just something about that compels you. And as you look out into the sky and the opportunities, you grip your envelope again and you look at it. It's beautifully written. You've never seen anything like it. It's calligraphy. It's decorative. It explains that you are welcome to join. You're welcome to come to what will be a new home for you. You're welcome to be there. It's something that's hard for Amadriana to believe because she's never felt welcome before.
Not for a long time.
Yeah. Your mother gives you that sense of serenity and peace and that she wants you there, but even there, she's trying to protect you and keep you from this life. So for her, it's still not necessarily a welcoming energy. It is a protective one. A lioness looking out for a cub.
She'll make her way back home, prepare her things, and as you see her standing in her room surrounded by her things, she takes a look in the mirror, and as you see from behind her, just the hand moving up and grabbing the mask and pulling it away. But from behind, all you can see is the white hair and the very slight tip points of it coming through.
Yeah. You take off into the night for what will be a trip that'll take you quite a few days to fulfill. You need to get out of the city, get to the docks. You need to cross a port to another port. You can't go straight from here. The boats that come to this place are not quite the boats that go to other places. So you head for the mainland to make a continued journey. And with that, I will move on to another member of our team. The Dapper Dash himself. Dash. For you, it's early morning. It's another day in what would be considered almost the opposite energy and placement as Verduar. So where she comes from is like a cesspool of just crime and everything. You come from the police capital of these isles, which means that what you have to do is a little bit more, let's just say, suave. You have to be stealthy. You have to be hidden. You have to be careful. Ian, do you want to introduce Dash?
Yes. Well, Dash is a fashionable man. Would often be seen in the finest suits that he can get his hands on. He would stand about 6 foot tall, strong jaw, slick black hair, not like my ginger mess here, and eyes that could be seen as brown, maybe gold, blue in the right light. Strong build, human, a charming fellow.
At least he likes to think he is, right?
He likes to think he is. He tells himself that.
You live in a city that's as notorious for its high society as its underworld activities. There is crime because every city has it, but you live in the city where policing began in this world. There are divisions here that hunt down people with powers. There are divisions here that hunt down people just like you, who try and stay in the shadows and steal from other people and take, no matter what your intention might be. But for Dash, I think that adds to part of the thrill. He likes to make himself fit in, right? So, where better to do that, and where better to test your skills than the most dangerous place in the world to do exactly that? The way I picture Dash is that while you're packing, you're meticulously picking different pieces of your attire, trying to figure out, okay, this is what I'll wear, this would be good in case I'm in this situation, because unlike the rest of them, Dash doesn't quite know where he's going, which is a little bit different. So he kind of has to prepare for anything, but in a backpack that holds like 30 kilos, I think you have to make some executive choices.
Travel light, travel smart.
Travel light and travel smart, that's it. But thankfully, your mother is a meticulous craftswoman, known for her tailoring skills and her abilities. So you have room for the things that you need because you can pack a whole suit light. It only has to look like a suit. It doesn't have to be a suit. As you're walking out to head towards the dock, you hear a voice behind you. Are you going somewhere?
Yes.
You turn around and sitting on your rooftop, just dangling her legs, is Lissa.
Lissa. I should have known I'd see you here, darling.
Well, I had to come and check. Someone has had some sticky fingers in my honey jar. You wouldn't know anything about that, would you?
Not a clue, my dear. Perks of the job in our line of work, is it not?
Yes, but those in our line of work also know how to hide it. So it's a very elite group who would know how to find it again.
True. Sorry, I can't help you. Anything valuable taken?
Oh, just something crucially important to me. Just a tiny little envelope. You haven't seen it, have you?
Now, what value would be in an envelope?
If I have to explain to you how to do your job one more time, I think we're going to have a problem.
You and I both know we have eyes for different items. That's why we work so well together.
Yes. She sort of emulates... There's quasi-pride in her face, but then there's also this mistrust. She's trying to gauge you, trying to read you. I notice you have a rather large backpack on your back. Where might you be going on this fine morning? You're not leaving me alone in the city, are you? I can't rob all of these buildings myself.
For a time, darling. But fret not, I shall be back. Adventure calls.
She very elegantly flips off the building. She just literally falls and just lands on her feet gracefully. And she walks up to you, sauntering, and she fixes your collar. I don't think you'll last 2 minutes outside the city without me.
Well, one has to spread their wings in order to try to fly, do they not?
Fine. How long will you be gone for?
I couldn't say. Are you saying you'll miss me?
She doesn't say anything. She just walks around kind of behind you, meandering around you almost. She doesn't say another word about it.
I'll take that as a yes.
You notice a slight tug on your pocket of your jacket.
Has she taken anything?
Not yet. She's rooting.
I'll grab her hand. Had to be quicker than that, dear.
She holds up your watch. I was.
You do enjoy showing me up, do you not?
That makes her smile, for sure. She accompanies you in the way that a cat accompanies a person down the street by just choosing to follow as if they don't care if they're following or not. They just happen to be going in the same direction as you. But she opts to follow you towards the docks.
You're unusually invested in my journeys today, darling.
What can I say? I wasn't expecting you to ever leave the city. That sounds like maturity and growth. Those aren't your strong suits.
It's not for maturity or growth I'm going. I'm bored of the masks here, and I'd like to try and see what masks lie elsewhere. There's a big world out there.
Yes, for such a little dog. Are you going to be okay paddling through these waters alone?
I'll be quite alright, thank you. I appreciate the concern, though. Tell me, what was in that envelope of yours?
Yes. It was a gateway, an opportunity, but it appears it does not matter until I find who took it.
An opportunity? You tell me you plan on leaving the city?
The grass is always greener, as they say. Although, not that we get much grass here. She gestures to the sandstone buildings in this desert city that you live in.
Well,
the grass can only be greener. Yeah.
And that is part of the reason to leave for a bit. I need to see the world. My father saw the world. It's in the blood.
I don't know if I would use him as a role model for this.
Perhaps not, but minor inspiration, perhaps.
Well, I can't say I'm fond of the idea of you leaving. But if you don't come back, I will hunt you down and take everything you own and leave you tied to a tree.
Again? Once is enough for that.
Lessons learned.
Tell you what, I'll bring you back something shiny.
I don't think it's optional. It's part of your contract. As you guys approach the dock, you see two people that you recognize. One named Alara, and another one named Alandor. Both of them waiting to send you off with different energies. One quite noble, respectful, well put together, and another one who's like fiddling with the female's fiddling with a bag and just trying to get everything to stay together, and it's like falling open, and there is a sense that this person in particular is overwhelmed by something today.
I'll turn to Lissa first and say, well, I better go say goodbye to my mother.
Yes. And to think you weren't even going to say goodbye to me, huh?
No, I didn't think it meant so much to you.
Yes, well, you have to come back. Because if you don't, you won't get this back. And she's holding up your wallet and she just walks away into the crowd. I say wallet, a coin purse. Yeah.
Just let out a sigh, a wry smile, and then turn to the two that are waiting.
At this point, it's probably money you owed her anyway.
Probably.
You turn to the two that are waiting. Starting with Alandor. He didn't necessarily teach you everything you know, but he had a huge influence on you. Sometimes when you put on your suit and you try and blend into a high society crowd, it's him that you're fixated on. It's his energy that you play to stay in character. He is nobility upon nobility. He is wealth upon wealth. He is connected. He doesn't necessarily need to steal from this city because he can make his way just fine. That doesn't mean he tries to deter you from doing it or put you away from it. He has been a good influence on your criminal... I don't know if I want to call it an enterprise, but your criminal skill set.
Endeavors, we'll call it.
Endeavors. I'll go with endeavors. That's a good one, yeah.
So as I reach him, I'll, tidy up the suits, straighten up the back, shoulders back, and reach out a hand to shake his.
Where is your pocket square?
Tied it away for the journey, so.
Fine. Are you ready?
I believe so. I have what I need to travel light and smart. haven't a notion where I'm really going, but see when I get there.
Do send a letter and stay in touch. You know I worry.
Of course.
My wife made you this. He picks up a small bundle, and there's a small sandwich that's in there. It would be probably your favorite ingredients, so instead I'll let you describe what you think Dash's favorite sandwich would be.
Egg salad.
Egg salad? Perfect, easy. In the desert sun, that is exactly the ingredient you would expect. Egg salad, perfect. It is the most beautiful egg salad sandwich you've ever seen in your life, and you're already stomach rumbling thinking about it. Yeah.
That's all my regards. My appreciation. Thank you, sir.
Yes. Well, send her a card too, yes?
Oh, of course. Goes without saying.
I'm mostly here to accompany your mother. She is a wreck. And you look over and there's like some kind of bead that's just rolling and she's just chasing it down this little dock area. Like she is struggling with this.
Yes, I feared this may have a negative effect on her in the short term. Long term, I can't help but feel this will be best.
Yes, well, I better go pick up that bead. Well, it's going to take her all the way down to Riatas. I don't know.
Yes. Yes, do. Thank you. Mother?
She looks up at you. She's like, oh! She just starts like, my boy!
No, Mother. I appreciate the concern, but I'll be quite all right.
Your mother... She's wearing like a
back.
dark dress as if this was a funeral. She's wearing like a dark dress with this white inlay on it. She has short, like kind of shoulder length dark hair. She runs up to you and she's just like, my boy! And she just hugs you and she like clings onto you and like she's not quite as tall as you. She's just like gripping you.
Yeah, just arms pinned in.
Yeah.
Yes. No need for tears, Mum. It's quite all right. I'll be fine. Just a small trip.
She doesn't for a second believe you. She is devastated that you are leaving. To skip the formalities, there's about 15 minutes of her sob speaking to you that is almost unrecognizable.
I'll attempt to calm her down, knowing the efforts will be absolutely futile, but I'll try nonetheless.
As you're doing that, you hear this ding, 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 and you know your boat is like going. Like your train is at the station pulling out and you're just like gripped in still 15 minutes. She's not letting go.
So I'll break away from the embrace and I'll just hold her by the shoulders and I'll kiss her on the head and just look her in the eyes. Mom, honestly, it's going to be okay. This will be good for us.
You say that now, but you don't know.
I know.
You barely know what's walking around the corner. You don't know what's around. What if you go to a dangerous place?
There are many dangerous places in this world, Mama.
Oh! She starts crying again.
I must go. My apologies. I will be back soon. I will write.
She is not letting go. She's just like pulling onto like the lapel. She's like holding onto you. She's trying to keep you.
I'm going to do like the squeeze and roll and just roll over the island door.
Okay, yeah, he just takes her and he starts hugging her. As you start to walk away, you kind of give like a goodbye and then you just hear, oh, wait. And she picks up the bag that she's been fussing with and she runs over and she hands it to you. And it's this, it could not have been cheap for her to make this. It is the exquisite leather kind of armor. It's this beautiful, pristine shape. It's custom to you. She knows every detail that she needs to make such a perfect thing for you, but you have never had something of this value. You have things that look like they are this value, but this actually is, and it's far beyond her means. She clearly wants to keep you safe. This is good leather.
Oh, this is incredible work. This must have taken you weeks.
Yes, well,
Thank
when
you.
your son says he's going away, you have to keep him safe. This is outrageous. Come home and let's talk about this. Let's just
Look, Mum, it will be fine. I cannot repeat that enough. I will be fine. I will be back soon. I promise.
You watch as your boat is slowly passing your peripheral.
Oh, shit. Sorry about that. Mustache.
Well, it's too late. You mustache. Oh my god, I'm so angry. As Dash does indeed fulfill his namesake, you take a running leap and you land kind of on the boat, and you look over and you do this sort of goodbye, and you're looking at the walls of the city, and on top of it is just this speck of a person, and you know that Lissa's watching you go as well, although she would never want you to know. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll give a cheeky wave in that direction as well.
She just fades in behind the wall.
She's so cool.
But you would never tell her that either.
I can't tell her that, no. Damn, she's cool.
Meanwhile, in another part of the world, someone is going through a much different experience. As opposed to the desert city. Instead, we approach someone who is in a very small town on a lake amidst the trees and the stars. Rory, would you like to introduce your character?
Yes. A slight bit of a drizzling rain. It is nighttime. From a distance, you hear hooves as he slowly approached a village. Atop a horse, covered in stains, blood, muck, soaked to the skin. Dark hooded figure approaches, head hanging low, looking towards the slight light in the distance of her home.
You are more akin to knowing the nighttime. You don't walk out much in the day. In a world where the population is 99% human, to see someone with purple skin is an oddity that people fear, and as much as you wish they wouldn't, you've learned to cope and to deal with it through your own trials and tribulations. As you dismount your loyal horse Ducky for the last time in a little while, you get the sense that all pet owners do. You know your creatures so well that Ducky can sense your emotions and knows that you are upset. And so as you go to walk past and you pat Ducky's neck, Ducky just like heaves you, like kind of frustratedly, but also in a cute way. Not angry, just expressive. You approach a quaint little bookstore that you are familiar with. One that has been your home for all your life. Rain sits inside. Waiting for you there with her is another gentleman. The first person you've ever seen in your life with skin like yours, purple and dark with a beard and horns going back. Well, how was your last ride?
Hang up a hooded coat to the rack, close the door slowly behind me, check in Ducky, turn around and go. Quiet. It was nice, I won't lie. I'm a little bit scared. This bookshop, everything inside of it from the top to the very bottom has been my home. These rafters have been places I've slept and napped and read many, many tales. I'm leaving the beautiful embrace of my mother to face something I've never possibly seen or potentially read about before. How would you feel?
Well, I quite enjoyed he looks around, he's like, your undercroft of this building is quite exquisite. I will definitely want to return here and... Well, let's just say that my kind of vacation is with a good book. Are you nervous for what is to come?
I'm nervous for what's to come. I'm nervous for what I'm capable of. I didn't expect that to happen.
Yes, well, when you're pushed, things can operate differently, but that is where we come in. By joining our Arcanum, we hope to teach you exactly what it is you're worried about. When to let loose and when to hold back. It is not a place where you will have to hide. It won't take long for you to feel like you're at home, to walk in the sun and not be judged. You will meet a lot of interesting people here. Many are making their way as we speak. I will take you there, and you will be happy. You will forget what the anger feels like, because nothing there will make you have to embrace that part of your heart. But we will prepare you for the day that comes inevitably, where you will have to handle this once again.
I genuinely appreciate it. This is going to be something that I've only read about. The tales of centuries and the tales of, from what I've seen, pretty high in my mind, the letters that swell through my brain to the words that I've been written.
Yes, well... When it comes to opportunity, how we perceive it and react to it is what makes the difference. Some of us become overwhelmed with pressure, and we lash out at those things around us. But when you do what you do, and stand up and take the opportunity, that takes more courage than anything else. This guy exudes calm. Like, it is really hard to feel anything but relaxed next to this man as he sits in these robes that kind of suit him. Like, they're the same color almost as his skin. He looks like he has seen a lot of things in life. He is proud, but not so proud as to be arrogant with it. He has a proud demeanor to him.
Mm-hmm.
There is a side to him as he speaks to you that you know he's probably been in similar situations to you, and he understands your journey better than probably anyone else that you've ever met.
Mm-hmm.
Living in a mostly human society or predominantly human society has been difficult for you because a lot of people show you fear and angst rather than giving you an opportunity to prove that you aren't a threat. They treat you like you are one. Doesn't matter what you say or how you present yourself. Given that the events of your backstory are quite recent, Rain is very quiet.
Yeah.
She knows that you have to do this.
Mm-hmm.
She gets it. But she's not okay with it, you know? She's not happy.
Yeah.
You leaving is it's quite a surprise.
Mm-hmm.
Effectively, yesterday, everything was fine, and today you have to go. That would be a surprise to anybody. So, Rain by nature is quiet as a person anyway. She runs a bookstore. She doesn't talk much. She reads. That's her thing. But she's having difficulty looking at you not from being angry or frustrated, but from sadness. And the sadness that it brings to see someone, her own daughter, leaving on this journey much sooner than she expected. Now, she's not wailing like Dash's mom. She can compose herself. She's fine. But she is definitely upset.
Okay. I'd like to, if possible, take her down to the Undercroft for a cup of tea and a chat.
Yeah, that's fine. The gentleman named Rem is sitting there, and he continues to read his book. And he just has a cup of tea. He's fine. He doesn't think about it twice. You just go, and you don't have to explain yourself to him, and you don't feel like you have to either. He just understands. So you're going then?
Unfortunately, it has to be done. Some of these books, it's as it was written some time ago. People like me and the legacy, we were abundant, apparently. There's a safe place. But I will come back to you. I will come back to Julia and Jess with tales and hopefully a few books.
How do you know that this isn't some sort of trap? I know the way he looks, but how do you know he's not just trying to trick you or use you for your power, or...
It feels right. And Ducky didn't flinch when he approached.
I don't know that I trust a horse's judge of character, but I know you do. I've spent a long time protecting you. My concern is now that you go out into this world and a situation like yesterday occurs.
Yeah.
But on a much grander scale that we cannot protect you from. This is a small town, but the world is a very big place. Most of us don't get to see beyond our walls. Just promise me you'll be safe.
I'll absolutely do everything that I can until I feel safe before I lower that hood.
She slides a book over to you, and it's your favorite book from when you were a child. Of a heroine that you believe in, that encourages you, that motivates you, that inspires you. And she just puts it in your backpack, and just don't forget where you come from, okay?
Second she finishes that sentence, I hug her tight.
She holds on to you too. This book looks like it's been read about 10 million times. It's the namesake of the store that you are in. It is a character that's so important to you, someone in literature that inspires you. You could believe those stories to be real. As you look down at the book of the tale of Roshi, who inspires you, who motivates you, who captivates you, you suddenly feel emblazoned with strength. You can do this.
While holding the book, she looks up at the staff hanging from the ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
Just for a moment. Then she heads back upstairs.
As you're approaching the room, you hear, well, I don't really know, to be honest, if I would call it that, but yes, they are horns, I suppose, yes. And you walk in, and Jess is sitting there talking to this guy, completely unfazed by him, doesn't give a shit that, like, a human devil is sitting in this room, just whatever, like, totally normal. Taking the opportunity to ask as many questions as humanly possible to this gentleman who is trying to be patient with the questioning.
Jess, so good to see you. Where's Julia?
She's on the way, and she looks out, and there's like, you see Julia just like running, but then like she stops and she's just looking for something, and then she just runs again, and she's like talking to somebody. Like, there's a path that has to be followed here. Yeah. Well,
I say my goodbyes to Jess.
you're going?
Why not?
I'm not sure how I feel about this.
It's gonna be fine. Imagine the stories I'll be able to tell Julia.
Yeah, but I babysat you when you were like a little grape, and now look at you. You're this big purple woman with abilities, and like your eyes. Just be careful.
I'll do my best. I kiss her cheek. Gather my things. I smell.
What the rock is cooking? Sorry.
Absolutely. I smell the bookshop.
Yeah.
Get the scent. Remember it. Blow a kiss to my mother.
Yes.
Time to head outside.
Rain walks with you, but she's emotionally exhaling. She's trying to be okay. She wants you to do this. She doesn't want you to see that she's upset, but you know she's going to go back in there and she's going to let all that out. As you step out the door, you look at this small village. It's a small little quaint place. There's no more than a few hundred people who live here. Everybody knows everybody. Yet still, when you step out, there are people who back away or walk away or don't want to be a part of it. And just there are some people who stare as they walk past and stuff. So you just kind of correct your hood a little bit. And then there's an audible gasp as the guy walks out and he's like, right, are we ready to go? Because he doesn't pull up a hood or do any of that shit. Very good. Well, all right. And he sort of clicks his fingers, and Ducky has a carriage or a cart behind him that is prepared to go. Are you ready?
I'm ready. She just brushes Ducky's.
Oh, you didn't think we were going to leave your horse behind, did you?
Definitely thought I was bringing him. I didn't expect a carriage.
Oh, yes. Well, you know. Why not a carriage? Would you prefer something else? Would you prefer a boat? Is that?
No.
It feels like it would be a lot slower from here. It's just a lake.
I've read about boats. I'm okay with the horse.
Okay. As you begin to climb, you do hear a voice behind you. Eos.
Mm-hmm.
A gentleman walks out with a limp.
Oh.
You weren't going to say goodbye?
I didn't even know you were here.
You can't keep using that excuse.
I've only done it 20 times, but
He walks up towards you and he leans on the cart, like completely kind of nonchalant, but his posture is pristine. This man handles himself well. The limp is barely a thing. It looks like if someone else had this limp, it would be a lot worse, you know? You're going to protect yourself, aren't you?
I'll do what I can.
Do better than that. Do what I can.
No one can do what you do.
Well, that's true, but... He unclasps his he has this belt over his belt that he unclasps, and he hands you what looks like a very ornamental and beautiful rapier.
Oh.
This is rare. I have been given this as a gift, but it will not see action on my side. However, I do think it might see action on yours. His accent kind of fades in and out a bit. He's newer to this place. He's lived here for a few years, but
Yeah.
he stems from somewhere else. The item that he hands you is something that you are aware of, called the Rapier of the Vanguard. It is an ornamental rapier. It is something that represents people who have made it very far in the naval sector. It is not something that's given away lightly. Although to him it may seem it.
I hold it with the utmost respect, looking at it, amazed by how stunning design. Look at the blade unsheathing it slowly, and
Yeah.
sensing the souls that may have been taken, or the souls that may have protected for as long as this ever existed.
Right. He hands it to you, the belt, the kind of like the whole thing is there. It's like a holster almost, but it just has this kind of thing. It's a very naval looking thing, and it's worn as hell. So the whole thing, it looks weird. He looks oddly different without that on, because you've seen him with it every day, you know? He pats you on the side and he says, good luck.
Thank you. Protect my mother.
Yeah, I'll try. Right, shall we go? And then he's just like, he claps, and Ducky's like he's just like, he's not used to just loud, like this guy's just there, he's ever present. So
Time to go.
yes, well, onward, Ducky. And the horse is like, And then you just sort of reach out and you like give it a little tap, and then Ducky's like, oh, and like it just starts like down you go down the path. You're a few days out from where you need to be. As we approach this lull between two stories, let's take like 5 minutes. We'll jump in again and we'll continue with the other three then straight after that. And then we'll introduce you to the Wandering Isles. Sound good?
Ducky's the best name for a horse ever.
When you said it, the first thing I went was, yep.
Of course, yeah.
Nice.
All right, guys, we're going to take 5 minutes. We'll be back in a few. Thank you so much for joining us. Get yourself some water and drink and relax. BRB, welcome back. Much needed break there for just to refill some cups. Perfect. So far so good. I really like meeting your characters. This is awesome. We're going to move on to someone who's worked on their character for a very long time. Izzy, my friend, would you like to introduce Hatsu?
Yes, Hatsu is he's appearing in kind of a mix between a robe and an armor, and he's more fashioned in a traditional Japanese Edo period kind of samurai guy, but his style is more towards a ninja, what might look like. So he's a fusion between these two things. You see him wearing a katana at his belt, his sword, and he also has something on him that would look to you like a SWAT mask. So you can barely see his eyes and the
kind of a balaclava type of thing.
Bit, yeah, like a balaclava, and some kind of a bandana around his head, all black bluish. It's not real black, but it's also not quite blue, so something between dark blue and black. And you would see an amulet around his belt, like on his belt on the top, which looks like a ruby, but there's something more going on in it, but you can't quite tell what it is.
We find Hatsu the night before he leaves sitting atop a rooftop. You're sitting beside Ayami. You two are just casually talking. Are you nervous for tomorrow?
I don't think we should be afraid of our destiny, Ayame.
How do your family feel about your trip?
I'm honored to do that. I'm honored that they chose me. Even my sister is older than me and has more experience. So I'm grateful and happy to progress on that road.
Yeah. And you're taking Boreal with you?
He has to do his part to do the jobs that I can't while I'm approaching the path.
Well, Saganatoshi is going to be quieter without you.
Maybe that will give you an opportunity to catch up with some of the lessons.
Something tells me this trip is so that you can catch up with me, so maybe we'll be almost level when you get back. Hatsu stares down for a moment and he sees Hashirama standing down at the doorway looking up. 100% awareness of where you are, and you have 100% awareness of where he is. I think he's waiting for you.
Hatsu is looking like a little bit over his shoulder to give her like inside eye.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, well, you better be better when we meet next time. And he kind of...
She shoves you like off the roof. She just like... she just pushes you, but friendly, not like heaves you. Yeah.
So the moment she wants to touch him with a gentle push, he kind of, as if he would have felt that she likes to do something, he whirled her around her like a tango dancer would do,
just like the swirling,
and left her with like a breath of air floating around her, and he's kind of salto flick-flacking, jumping down from the roof, and stands like a 45-degree angle behind his father.
Yeah.
And he goes like, Oto-san, what may I do for you?
He gently bows towards you, and in the distance you see as Ayami jumps, and she uses this kind of long rope that spins to something, and she just Spider-Man's out of there. Hatsu. Hatsu-san, I suppose, right? Have you packed?
My baggage is ready since a week.
You will take care. You will learn. You will listen. And you will return when you have completed your task. Do not
As you wish, Father.
Do not come back empty-handed. You suddenly and instinctively, you feel this compulsion to just move. And for a moment you can't figure out why, until you realize that your father has already unsheathed his weapon and starts to swing towards you. Masterfully, you dodge without drawing your weapon. You just dodge. You don't want to pull your weapon on this man. You don't feel that compulsion. He swings at you again. You step back out of the way. It's starting to annoy you. He's getting closer. He's starting to swing at you. How do you want to react? He's fast.
Oh, he is. He kind of after the last blow, he takes a step further back as he would normally do, and he like folds his hand in front of his body, and he bows down and he says, "Onegashimasu." And that's where he stands. He's not dodging anymore.
He swings the sword towards you and stops, like here, like an inch. And then he respectfully turns the blade and hands it to you, and you recognize it. Growing up, there were two swords, always prominently on display. One was unfortunately taken, but the other is being handed to you at the moment. This, without him saying it, this would be the biggest declaration of admiration and respect you would get from your father. He wouldn't tell you that, but you know it. You will bring it back?
He kind of takes two hands up and like balances the sword, and he kneels down and he says, "Oto-san, I'm not worthy of this."
You hear a voice from behind you And it startles you almost because there's only one person who's ever always able to sneak up on you, and your mother is standing at the doorway watching all of this transpire. Hatsu, I don't think you get to decide that. There are people sort of gathering around slightly as you kneel. You hold this sword. The moment is immediately disrupted. There is a very loud sound from within your home as there's a loud crash. Your mother reacts with her eyes widened. Your father reacts by basically just taking a stance and moving forward. He has no weapon on him at the moment. What do you want to do?
Kinda still is overwhelmed with the gift that he got. And he kinda instinctively gets into fighting position with the sword and slowly approaches the sound that he's hearing, try to figure out what just happened.
As your family all converge on the door and look inside, you see Boreal standing there like, sorry. He knocked over just this old thing full of dishes. He's kind of clumsy like that. He's still figuring out everything for him. As you look towards Boreal, you see something that is a little bit different than what you would typically see around, of course, because Boreal is not your typical human. He's what is considered to be an owl and an owl folk. He has the head of an owl, the features of an owl, but he wears these robes, much like you, and he just doesn't compose himself with the grace that you do. He's still learning, though. Your mother starts to clean up the broken dishes. Quite quickly. She just grips them and tidies them up, and your father goes to get a broom. You're somewhat alone with Boreal as your mother's a bit distracted.
Looks like somebody might be a little nervous, I guess.
I mean, I'm fine. I'm good. It's fine. Everything's fine.
You sure you want to stay with me instead of staying here at your post?
Well, considering the other day I almost burnt this place down, maybe a little bit of training, could be good.
Well, they say the best training is the reality, the fights out there, the war. But you have to understand that I can't be with you. You have to be my eyes and my ears in the nights, at the places where I can't be. There is nobody that can get you out of a fight like I did last time, you remember?
Do you practice this stuff? Do you even know what you're saying? Does this just come out of you? Is that how you communicate? What? Yeah, that's fine. I don't need my big brother, he air quotes with his feathers, looking after me. I can do this. This is fine. If anything, you're coming with me. I'm the one who was invited. You're just, you can be my bodyguard or something. It'll be fun. He talks to you in a demeanor where he's very casual with you, which a little bit probably bothers you, but also you get where it comes from. He talks to you like that because he treats you like family. He wouldn't normally talk to somebody like that. Maybe. But he's a very sassy owl, so could be. There's a moment where your father comes back in and he's like, Boreal, have you packed? And Boreal just shit, and just walks out of the room. Preparation isn't key for Boreal the way it is for you. Like you said, you packed weeks ago. You've been ready for this, This is Hatsu's journey. This is Boreal's quest, This is two different things. In the meantime, your mother, Kokoro, asks what you remember of the tales she would tell you when you were a kid, of Hiro. Hiro was somebody that you have not heard the name of in a long time. It barely resonates as a thought to you. I feel it's important today to remind you of the stories I told you as a child. Hiro was known for his interest in advancement. He was a scholar, an artist, but he was incredibly disciplined. You remind me of him, because much like you, he traveled too. He was always seeking knowledge, culture. He was passionate about academia. He was also the original owner of the sword that was taken from us. Many generations ago, he wielded that blade first. It was made for him. He was one of the original founders of this city. And some believe that he could wield his sword in such a way that it could make you see draconic forces and spirits, fire, elements, emotions, everything. You could understand it all through the way he would wield his weapon. He learned a lot on his travels, and it gave him the ability to build what we have today. And although this city is not perfect, the things you see here are not like what you'll see outside these walls. And he was a big part of this. He is also... She hesitates for a moment, and she pauses, and she deliberates how to explain this to you without it... I don't know what the word is, but like without it being overwhelming for you. Like she's not trying to push a lore dump on you and then just like push you out and go, good luck. Like she's trying to explain the importance of every step, every integral moment of his life that parallels to yours. Because he himself accomplished a lot. He was borderline magical. He was something just beyond the typical, and a lot of people aspire to be like Hiro. But the reason he's so important to you, because you're following in his footsteps, so this is why she thinks that he's so important to you. He is a Toshitsugu. Deep, deep in your bloodline lies a myth, a legend, the heart of this city founded on this human being. But it's a story that she tells firstly so that you understand the importance of the journey that you're taking and the knowledge that you're undertaking and the responsibility of what you're doing. This wasn't given to Boreal, this wasn't given to anyone else. This task of retrieving this was given to you. But there are things you must learn, and you must be open to those experiences for you to be able to go and do what you need to do. With the journey that Hatsu is going on, everyone so far that we have met and talked about has had their own motivations for what they're doing. But a lot of those motivations may have come from an inward place. Hatsu strikes me as somebody who comes from an outward place. He listens, he takes this stuff in, he understands the nuances of the way things move, the way they interact with the world. This is something unique to him. So with that in mind, if your mother is explaining this story to you, There's probably a reason for it. She spends a while talking as she cleans up the mess that Boreal left. You hear another crash from the room as he knocks over something while he's packing, and you hear him trying to, like, tussle all the stuff in. But something that you would pick up on is that there's a moment of serenity in this. Like, Boreal is being chaotic, your mother's cleaning up after it, your father's sighing somewhere loud, somewhere far, in a different room. But you'll miss this. Because you've had adventures outside the city, but notoriously it hasn't gone well for you. There are a lot that you've taken in, but every time you go away, there's a fear that something will happen again, because in past experiences, these things have happened. You step away willingly, following orders, but your heart is behind these walls. Whereas everyone else is trying to find themselves, you are trying to build yourself up. And there's a real nobility in that. By the end of Kokoro's story, you understand that Hero is more than just someone who's important to the city, but he's important to your clan, to your group, to your family, to your lineage, and to your story. And perhaps this place that you're going to will be able to give you more insight into the stories of Hero that you wouldn't have gotten from behind these walls. Your sister should be here. But she was someone as driven as you. I'm trying to find the right wording to say this because I don't want to leak into your story too much. I want to give you the freedom to unveil your story, but she is elsewhere. She's in a city known as Palperoth. She's in the Elysium Academy, studying, but not like you study. She's studying for enterprise, for business, for running something, for her, whereas yours are more martial traits, hers is her intelligence. She is incredibly smart. So to be accepted into the Elysium Academy, where they only accept a few dozen people a year across the entire Isles, is a huge, huge honor that she earned. But she's making your family proud. Before we... Go ahead, sorry, that's what I was going to ask you.
As his mother comes towards an end of telling the story and everything,
yeah,
and he would grasp what she's trying to do, he bows down to her and he says, Domo arigatou gozaimashita, Oka-san. You taught me the ways of the Shinden Fudo, and I will honor your teachings, and I will honor our family, and I will process this way with the outcome that we all wish for.
She leans forward and does something that I don't know that anyone else on this entire planet could do. She leans towards your mask. She doesn't go to take it off. Instead, she slides a small piece of fabric inside and it has her scent. Something that you can keep with you and think of her. Although the scent won't live forever, you're aware that this piece of fabric is here. And it's something that stays close to you. Something that's with you, something personal that connects you and reminds you to come back home. Boreal comes out, he puts his bag down, it's much too big, it rips open a little bit, and she just sighs and she rolls her eyes and she just starts stitching the bag back up again, and she takes things out and she reorders it. It all would have fit perfectly, but, you know, Boreal's Boreal. She and your father are a very good balance. They are driven, both of them, but they are driven in very different ways to achieve very different things. Together, they taught you different things growing up. Some of them taught you balance and the martial arts and different things, and some they taught you like Tai Chi and this kind of breathing and this exercise that gives you peace and calm. But when to become the blade is something that Hatsu needs to learn. Are there any last things that Hatsu would do before his night ends and his morning arrives?
Sure. He would, since he doesn't have the opportunity to say goodbye to his sister, because he would know that his journey is kind of a longer one, because the stuff that he found out with Boreal and that the clan found out,
Yeah.
he knows he will be away for a decent time before he comes back. So he remembers a swords lesson of his grandfather back when he was very, very young, where his grandfather taught him certain techniques, but he wasn't allowed to use the sword. He had to use a brush. And that way he also dipped into calligraphy to understand the way of the sword better. So he would take out his brush and his ink, and he would write a letter to his sister, thanking her for her patience and her good energy and what she is giving up to kind of work for the family and take a spot at the Toshitsugu clan in a way that he knows she doesn't like as much she would like the other parts. And he leaves the letter with how could I say? He basically leaves the letter there for her to come back or to give it somebody that would send it to her.
Yeah. If I be so bold as to introduce one more factor, you walk out to the streets and you pick up one of the famous cherry blossoms that are there. And you include like a leaf of this in the letter, something to remind her of home, something that can only be found at home. You give the letter, you leave the letter with your mother. She'll bring it tomorrow, that's no problem. You guys go to bed pretty early. Like, discipline is important. Like, you're not trying to go out and cause all sorts of chaos before you leave. You're trying to prepare, make sure you have the energy for this journey and so on. Boreal doesn't really sleep that much. He's much more into the night. When the morning rolls around, you prepare for your journey. You take about 4 steps out. Boreal realizes he forgot stuff. He ran back in. Wait 10 minutes. He has to grab some stuff, put some stuff in his bag. You are like the exact opposite of him. Like you were prepared for so long ago. You know, you haven't opened this bag in like 3 weeks, but you know exactly where everything is and what's in this bag. There's a good chance he didn't bring food. Like, it could just be a thing. So the journey in itself is two-way. You have your own journey to take. He has his own journey to take too, but Hatsu has a thing in the back of his head where he knows there's going to be a bit of responsibility here. Like, you're going to have to clock him a few times in the back of the head when he gets mouthy, that kind of thing. It is the way it is. You board the cart, and it sets out. One of the towns that you pass is a town that you are familiar with. You go past Asazaki, and you head north. Along your journey, you see 2 strange-looking people on horses. On a horse and a cart. They are kind of purple-skinned. One male, one female. The male has horns. You try not to think too much of it, because who are you to judge? But you both follow the same path for a long, long time. Until you realize that they are probably going to the same destination, because it's too many coincidences. With that, I will move over to a very, very different person. On a very different island. In the cold. Richard, would you like to introduce your character?
Well, Slate is kind of a medium height guy. Not thin, not athletic. Kind of 5'10", your average build. He's not particularly good looking, not ugly by any means, just plain looking. He his clothes, I suppose, would show that he's never really known wealth, and I suppose his skin would show that he has felt the cold a lot.
That kind of pale-esque kind of color, you know? Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, he's the kind of person that keeps to himself, somebody who likes to watch things, very inquisitive, likes to think things through, like a chess player making his next move. Half the time it's in his own head. He's always thinking, sometimes muttering to himself, trying to work things out.
Yeah. Well, you find yourself waking up in the town of Penzance, the only town you really know. It's cold as shit, but that doesn't really bother you. You're not really fazed by that kind of thing. You're used to sticking to the shadows. You try not to be spotted, not to be seen, you don't want people looking at you. Like, even if it's a casual thing of someone walking down the street and looks at you, that's too much. So you take your time. If you see someone coming down the road, you might wait in an alleyway for someone to pass by, and you'd keep walking. As you're walking down the street, you turn a corner, and suddenly you find yourself behind bars, in jail. You turn around again, and you're locked away. How would you react?
I think I would ground myself, like at moments of feeling overwhelmed, whether it's the sights, the sounds, the smells, something happening. I would stop, plant my feet, take deep breaths, count to 10, close my eyes for a second, and reevaluate what's going on, I think.
As you close your eyes and reevaluate, you hear, "Good morning, Mayor," as somebody walks past, and suddenly you're standing in the middle of that street, and you get a shudder because somebody just talked to you and looked at you and acknowledged you and called you Mayor. That's bizarre.
I think I would just nod and put distance between myself and that weirdo and just keep going.
Yeah, and you do, and you finish your day. It's a nice, peaceful day. You walk into a store, you get a bit of food, you pull your weight, you do a little bit around the town. You head home and you lay down. And you wake up strapped to this bed in an iron cold environment. The walls are stone, the bars are there. There's someone standing over you. You just hear this expression, or this voice just resonating from way behind you. "Dr. Harrow wants this one tested." There's a chill that goes through you, colder than Penzance could ever be. How to react?
It's kind of like when you wake up from a dream, or when you feel like you've woken up but you can't move in the bed.
Yeah.
You've got that anxiety, your heart is pounding, your head is thumping. Everything seems quiet and loud at the same time, like you could hear a pin drop. Everything is super loud, but you can yet hear it all and distinguish it all. And your heart and your mind are racing, and one is trying to overtake the other, and you feel like your heart is going to jump out of your chest.
You look down, you pull your arm out of the strap, and you look down at your hand, and it's bone white. There's something off-putting about that. Why? Why is it so white? And almost like a haze comes across your eyes, and suddenly it's just skin tone, things look normal, and then suddenly you're in your room again, and you're fine. Like, everything's okay. Your heartbeat starts to slow down, you catch your bearings again. Could have been a dream.
I think I'd immediately go to the washroom, fetch some water, splash my face, clear my eyes, try and clear my head, drink some water, and maybe just take a moment and just, again, focus on grounding myself. Look in the mirror, finish my water, and try to go back to bed.
You look in the mirror, you go to splash your face, and suddenly you feel your face being pushed into the water. You come back out and you're back in this stone cold place. You hear laughter behind you. Something cruel is happening to you. Your head gets pushed back into the water, and as you lift it back up, you're there. You just washed your face. You're fine. The water drips from your face, but...
I think I'd grip the sink hard, almost white-knuckled. You'd be feeling a tension, trying to like stretch out a cramp that won't go away, something that you need to get distance from but you can't. And I just focus on feeling the cold of the sink, the cold of the floor, the cold of Penzance. Focus on what I can feel in the room. Focus on the now. Focus on the here.
You step out into the snow on the new day. Hours from what just happened to you, what you were talking about, what you experienced. This time it's a bit unusual because you know when someone's looking at you. You pay attention to these things, and someone across the street is looking at you. An elderly woman is just sitting there leaning against the building, but she's looking at you. You take notice of it and you just move on. But it keeps happening. Throughout that day, later there's a man staring at you, almost like taking in the details. Now you're very good at blending into a crowd, so it's very odd that when you do, there's a woman staring at you, there's another man, there's like a child staring at you. Throughout the day, this doesn't happen to you.
I find myself picking at my clothes, looking for bits of fluff, constantly scratching my neck so it's almost going raw. I just find myself doing these, and whenever I notice that I'm doing it, I have to stop myself.
Yeah.
And I just try to move on with what I'm doing and just move away from where I am, and just I make eye contact every now and then I think, okay, I think it's time to move on. So I just move on and try and go about my day, try and go about my routine, get something to eat, just keep focused on the day at hand.
Throughout the next few days, it keeps happening. You have these strange flashes. There's people just staring at you. Like, well, this hasn't happened. You know, the flashes, yes, this is something you've experienced in the past. Probably a little bit more now, but like, the fact that people keep staring at you is very unnerving and bizarre.
I get the feeling that people know something that I don't. Like in the schoolyard, that I've wet my pants or something has happened.
Yeah.
Everybody's looking. Everybody knows something that I don't. But when I look, I can't figure out what it is they see. I don't know what they're saying, but obviously somebody has said something, and I need to find out what it is because it's starting to bother me. I didn't think it was a thing, but there must be something because everybody seems to know something I don't.
You walking down the street, you're looking for someone who's looking at you, who looks at you just slightly strange. You're waiting. And then it finally happens. There's a small girl, not one that you recognize, mind you, who is just sitting there watching.
I think I would think about how it makes me feel, and I think I would casually go in that general direction. And as you say, they're sitting, so I think I would find somewhere appropriate nearby, and I think I would just watch them watch me, if you get to be sure that it's me that I'm looking at. walk across at a diagonal while sort of keeping a side eye and find a place for myself to sit somewhere close, adjacent, kind of nearby, but not on top of them, if you know what I mean. And just wait for a conversation or a look to see what happens next, because I don't really know how to handle this.
She knowingly stares at you for a while. Like, she's not necessarily trying to hide it, but like, it's not a rude thing either. It's not like she's like, oh, look at that guy. Like, it's just someone who's looking at you. After a while, she sort of tilts her head and shrugs, stands up, kind of walks towards you, and then just kind of goes past you down the alleyway.
As she starts to go past, I just... What? What is it? What? What's happening? What?
She looks towards you, but she isn't scared like a child would be. And then you see something that, although difficult in this frozen town, sends more of a chill through you. As a ripple of white skin goes straight across her face.
I think I would go to the nearest source of water, and by that I mean anywhere that serves a drink. I think that's where I would be going now, because this day is shit.
Yeah.
I'm done with it. So I want to go and I need to get a drink. I need to get something. Yeah.
You're drinking, you sit down, whatever your drink of choice is. Like, you sit down and you just can't handle it. You're done with today. You're done with yesterday. You're done with this week.
It's strong. It's at least a double, and I'm having at least a double of a double.
Double.
Yeah. You're ordering 2 drinks because I need one in each hand, because the first one I'm just going to sink it. The second one I can nurse it and think on it.
A man walks in with this kind of long black trench coat, like kind of like a snow jacket, but not puffed up. It's more fabric and felt, if that makes sense. The older snow jackets, they have this fur on them and stuff. And he takes it off and he puts it on the seat beside you. And then he sits down. Sir, you're like me? Or am I mistaken?
I think I would take a long look, and I can immediately tell him he's mistaken. So I think I'm going to start from where I am. I'm just going to look for another table, because I don't think I want to be sitting here.
You're not as careful as you think. Give me 5 minutes, and I will leave your town, if that is what you wish.
You've got 4 minutes left.
I was sent here by somebody far more powerful than I to make an offer to you before the wrong people find you. I can do the things that you can do, but I know the burden that comes with those things. I want to offer you a place of safety and refuge while you learn to be who you are, not who they are.
I think I would instinctively put my hand to my blade, and I think not aggressively, but not subtly, more absent-mindedly.
Yeah.
When you draw it, that half to quarter inch just makes that little noise just as you pop it out.
Yeah, just
I'm not thinking about it. It's just the right hand goes for it immediately.
Yeah.
Because I'm not comfortable, and I'm not happy with what's going on. So it's instinctual, and the noise has happened, the click has happened before I've noticed, but in doing so, it's kind of brought me back. I know where I am. There's a lot of people here. This is not really what I want to do. So I realize that I'm feeling this kind of way. So I think he would clearly be aware of what's just happened. And then I would say, prove it. You have 3 minutes.
I'm going to use my time to do you a favor. He reaches out and he just pinches your arm before you can pull it back. But as you do, everything is crystal clear. You can concentrate, you can focus, you know where you are, you know who you are. That pain brought you home. It's all a bit clearer now, isn't it?
I finished my second drink in one.
I had the same problem. I'm just a little further down the road than you. I can teach you these things. I can also leave, but then he will come and he's very convincing and he talks a lot. Which I get is probably not your favorite thing. You haven't said a word in the 3 days I've been watching you.
This makes a lot more sense now. Keep talking.
Doesn't it feel better to go to a place where you don't have to wear any of these masks you wear? You go, you don't have to pay anything. You get to be there and be yourself and learn from people who have done this already. People who have taken your journey. You do not have to do this. I can't force you to do this. This town is fucking cold and I'm going home tonight, and I would appreciate it if you came with me, because otherwise he's going to talk to me. A lot.
Where we're going, is it warm?
Where we're going, temperature doesn't matter.
Oh, temperature always matters.
You'd be surprised.
What's the food like?
Whatever you want. The temperature is whatever you want. The clothes are whatever you want. Your room, your dorms are whatever you want. This is a place like nothing you have seen before. This is a place where you learn to be better than you are, and you learn what this world is really about. Not what these people want you to see, but what the world really is. Now you can sit here and hide and clearly not doing a good job since I found you, and since I was told you were here. Other people know. You can run to another city or town and have the same problem. Or just come with me, check it out, and if you hate it, leave anyway. What do you have to lose? You can't stay here. They know where you are.
Your time is up. Okay, here's my counter offer. I'll give you 3 days. You give me enough gold so I can feed myself for a few days, and if and when I want to leave, I can leave.
The bartender puts down a drink, and you go instinctively to reach for it, and he grabs it and he takes a shot back, puts a little pouch of gold down. Fine. Money is not an object.
Before he blinks, like somebody who hasn't eaten in days, that coin purse is off the table.
But I want to give you something. When someone is trying to find themselves, sometimes they need some help. Take this with you. He passes you a magnifying glass. It's a simple little mundane object. This helped me more than I realized. And I think it will do the same for you. When you look closely at something, it's hard to hide what it truly is.
I take a handkerchief from my pocket, I wrap it, just put it into one of my pockets.
Yeah.
Before we go, I get my own room.
That I can't guarantee. It's a dormitory system.
Do I get a key?
You get a say. You can have a key.
Good enough. Let's do it.
He puts on his jacket, and as it flies over, he just looks like an elderly gentleman the second it's passed, and he starts to walk out, frail and fragile. He makes his way down. You go with him. Do you need to get anything before you leave?
Nothing of consequence.
You guys walk for about a half a kilometer. It's pretty far out before you reach his cart, his horses. They've been here for a little bit, but he's clearly been camping here. He takes what he needs to, leaves the rest, hops on, and you guys make your way towards the shoreline where a boat will be waiting for you. Not once do you feel threatened or intimidated by this man. You don't feel that he has any malice towards you. What did they call you?
Those that know me call me Slate.
You shall call me Mr. Artifice. I will take you through this journey. I just hope you like what you find on the other side.
So far, it's great, Mr. Moneybags.
Oh, that's not my coin. But you'll meet him soon.
I think I would spend most of the duration, although I, talk cocky and flippantly, I think I would take the time to keep a gentle distance. If we were sitting in a carriage, we'd be just across from each other. Just enough that I'm taking in the time to keep an eye. It's like sleeping with one eye open. I'm comfortable, but not too comfortable. I'm not exactly watching, but I'm definitely watching. And just drinking in everything that's happening, just being super cautious, relaxed, but on alert. Taking note of everything that I can, and just trying to think.
The boat that you take goes along a long river. You spend more time on the boat than you do on the horse, but the horse is with you. The horse and carriage is with you. This boat looks different to most boats that you would have seen. It almost looks like it's floating through the water, not floating on the water. But that's when we'll move to a different part of the island. Where we go is to a town that's almost Victorian. Beautiful buildings, a gruff location that really makes you feel like you're in an early town of industry. Things are happening here. And in this town is a small little alchemy shop that sells potions that most people ignore. Nobody believes they even work. And upstairs in that room, John, would you like to introduce Wesleyan to the group?
Wesleyan is a boy in the middle of his spring years. Would be a normal looking boy if it wasn't for the enormous amounts of blue markings all over his body, tattoos, shapes, lines, hatchwork, ordered in their placement that contrast with other markings, scars, pierced skin, as if perhaps he had fallen into bramble patches too often, or perhaps fought a bear, been in too many hunting accidents. He has very bright eyes that seem to hold on to the light just a little bit longer than when they catch them. Dressed a bit haphazardly and a bit in a mixed match sense, as if he was clothed in what happened to be around at the time. And he is seen staring out the window at the bustle of the town, slack-jawed, wide-eyed, with extreme wonder and excitement.
Nice. As you make your way down the stairs, evening is coming. It's a time that you can walk a bit more freely around this town because it's not as hustly, bustly, busy and stuff. You kind of like more seclusion, if I understand correctly. So it's nice in the evening because there aren't so many people out.
Going to poke my head out of the door and catch the tail end of the day's business. Maybe slip out for a second to wander in the.
Where are you going?
Out.
Behind you is Alara sitting behind the desk. This woman who owns the store that you're staying in. She's a little bit chaotic in her look and her appearance. Her hair is a bit frazzled and all over the place. She wears like this kind of baggy clothing and stuff like that. She looks somehow kind of like a Victorian hippie is the best way that I could explain it. She's wearing nice clothes, but it's just kind of raggedy and all over the place and kind of colorful, and like even this store smells so much of like, you know, like patchouli and frankincense and like all this kind of stuff. Like it's just that kind of store. Like it caters to a very specific market of people. She's clearly worried about you to go out on your own, but like she has this presence of being kind of like she doesn't have enough authority in her to tell you to stay. Like she's not going to do that, but she's worried about you going out. You coming back?
Yes. I will come back as sun is down.
Okay. And you take that dog for a walk.
Chicken?
Yeah. The dog.
Oh, is not dog.
His tail. Pause.
Is red dog.
Yes. She says something in this kind of gruff language that's really like hard on your ears. And she's like, fine. But you come back?
Yes. Yeah, I'll be back.
Fine.
Okay,
she
bye.
tilts her head and you just like skip out the door. This place, even in the evening, is quite industrial, but like the factories are closing, but there's a lot going on. Mostly processing of wood is a big thing here. Whether they turn it into charcoal, whether they build things with it, whether there's always noise of people carving and chiseling and hammering and doing things. Like this place outputs a lot of like mostly wooden stuff, but they do stone as well and stuff like that, and they do processing, and there's a lot of industry. Like this place is just very, it juxtaposes you. Like it kind of, you have this very natural sense to you. You're very like bare bones and stuff, but this place is just mechanical, you know.
Is the fox nearby?
You would, yeah, like you let out a little whistle, and then like you look down an alleyway, and as if by pure magic, the fox is like running up to you with this like roast chicken in its mouth that it just spits on the ground and looks at you, wagging its tail.
You can't steal.
Just tilts its head.
Is bad?
Just starts eating the chicken and just like starts pawing at it and ripping into it.
Okay, I eat all of it. No one sees. It's okay.
The fox takes a few minutes and then just sort of sits down and like exposes its stomach like it's just full and wants belly rubs.
I'll give it a belly rub. I pick it up, wrap it around my shoulder, do a little spin.
Yeah. It just
pausing for a moment to remember where I am at and looking to see if that's causing too much of a scene. I know that she worries about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the thought leaves my mind, and I begin scurrying down the streets to peer in windows and to look around corners of buildings. This place is full of all sorts of wonderful things. Looking for a fountain that I can sit at a fancy metal bench and watch the water play and try and dodge carriages or whatever machinery may be around.
You are startled and knocked out of your wandering eyes quite quickly as you hear a kid crying, and you just kind of shake it off. You don't think about it, and you look across again, and the fox is sitting there holding a doll, looking up at you.
No steel.
The fox just tilts its head again and just spits it out at you.
I will go collect the doll and return it to its owner. Is the owner nearby?
Yeah, the girl is crying, so it's an easy find.
I am sorry.
She kind of tentatively takes it from you, but then she's like sniffling. She's not crying anymore. It's not a wail.
I dig through my pockets. I look around for something shiny. Is there a nice looking rock, a flower? Is there a cool piece of lint in my pocket?
Sure, yeah. We'll say there's a nice flower. That's an easy one for you to find here. This kind of place. It just fell off something when they were bringing in more trees and shit.
I will collect that very quickly, present it to her as well. Chicken is good.
She has like a snot nose and like bright eyes and stuff, but like the crying has stopped and they light up, and she smiles and she takes the flower and she puts it in the doll's hair. It's like you've remedied the situation. Yeah.
I smile widely and give her a long look. There's a brief moment of recognition or memory or a daydream before he calls to the fox,
right?
To scurry on deeper into the night as the night fills the street.
The later it gets, the less people there are, and the more comfortable you are as kind of a counterpoint. You sometimes see the fox, you sometimes don't, but it's usually around. Like, it's not usually that far from you. But as you're walking through the city, there's this nice, they're preparing the bread for morning. They're kind of like starting all of that process. The people who work at night are starting to do their thing, and you feel more at home there because that's just labor, but not destructive labor. It's not cutting trees. It's not destroying things. It's making things with organic materials, which is this nice thing to you. You find a bit of comfort or solace in that.
I do linger in the areas where there's smell of sawn. There's a word for that, hewn, cut wood.
Yeah. Oh, nice word.
I collect a pocket full of sawdust and run my hands along like the fancier doors, the woodworking, and maybe the old town. Try and find myself towards the edge of town. Is this a big place?
It's big enough. Like, it's big enough. Like, there's a lot of people. Like, it wouldn't be a city by any stretch, but like, it's the bigger side of a town. Yeah, like, it's populated.
Try and find a hill or a large point. See if I can't get a bigger view of the outer edges of the town.
there are moments for you that are a little strange, like sometimes you'll reach towards something and a bunch of little purple berries will just fall from your hand and you don't, like, that's a strange thing, but it's not unusual for you. Like sometimes you'll reach towards a door handle and suddenly ice will jut from your hand and you don't really understand why or how. It's just something to do with something you are, something you feel like it's in you. But for the most part, you enjoy your exploration of the city. You enjoy secretly enjoy the chaos that this fox brings to you as it just like continuously for days robs things from the city.
Don't steal.
a lot of cooked chicken. Like it's like an obsessive amount of cooked chicken, like crazy.
Yeah, where are these chickens?
It's really weird. There isn't even a place that cooks chickens here.
You show me.
just shakes its fur, starts licking itself and stuff.
It's very bad.
You walk into the store, into the elixir store, and suddenly, coming from you, seemingly, the room starts to begin to fill with fog. And Alara looks towards you. Well, this good as time as any. This is for you. And she gives you this thing that looks like a kind of a gnarled, almost a wand. Like it looks like a gnarled stick. Everybody in this town thinks she's a psychopath. Like not a lot of people shop here. How she has any business at all is crazy. It's mostly just people with weird ailments that she kind of cures a little bit and stuff like that. That like borderline magical, but not really, like more of a crackpot in this town. So her handing you a stick is to make you feel better is a bit weird, but not unusual for her. The fox tries to grab it because he thinks it's a fetch. Oh, be careful with that word, actually. I just might have triggered my dog. The dog thinks it's the fox, sorry, excuse me, thinks it's a plaything.
Later. Oh, run back upstairs. Since we're doing gift giving, I got something.
Do you like do that thing the kids do when they run up the stairs, like on all fours? It's just like
oh yeah, just a mad gallop.
Yeah.
I'll come back down with a. It's not well made, but from pilfered herbs that would be more necessarily used in her work, but they look pretty. Is a wreath made of these herbs
so nice.
That I present to her. You know, it's the macaroni on a card level of craftsmanship.
You notice that one piece of it's missing, and you're kind of like, oh, 1 sec, and you lean down and you just take it back from the fox, and you put it back into the wreath where it was.
Don't steal. Bad. And I will hand it to her, beaming, while shooting a look over at the fox.
She takes it and she looks around the room and she's like, ah, and she walks out, she opens the front door and she just hangs this like lovely wreath on the front of the door of her store as the first thing anybody sees when they enter. It's like mom putting picture on the fridge kind of vibe. Like she's super proud of this belongs here, like that kind of thing, right? She's super happy and she like leans down to give you a little hug. She's kind of tentative. She only knows you a couple days, so she doesn't want to like cross your boundaries, but it's still a cute thing.
Oh no, I take it. Oh yeah. Man, it's so eagerly received, and it is not something that he's willing to relinquish easily.
Yeah. You guys go and you sit down, you have some food. It's a little late, but it's just a snack thing. But I have a friend who help you. She's having trouble kind of finding the language. It's not her, like, even though this is what would be called everyday, like this normal language that everyone speaks, it's not her preferred language. They will teach you fog. Well, you fog, berries, ice. They will teach you to make.
Why?
She's like thinking of the word, and then she goes over, she gets a book, and she starts flicking through, and she's like, control.
Is good?
Oh, it's very good. Yes. Is a special place with special people.
Okay, you come.
I already done. You go, you come back. I wait here.
Now?
What, tomorrow? Is safe. Oh, but I got you, she leans out into the room and she goes into the bookcase again and she starts tussling. She comes back with this kind of greenish book. This you? And she holds it and it like has your surname. So she has that like surname on the book and it's like the history. This you?
Oh, Thewise.
You?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. You take. And she shoves the book towards you, kind of forcefully, almost like.
I take it. Now I owe her a gift. Pull
you go.
something
You
off her
bring.
wall.
You bring back gift from trip.
Okay.
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 Okay. You guys just say okay for like 5 minutes. Just like okay.
Okay.
You get the like impression she's trying to keep you safe. Like that matters to her, but she has a lot more understanding to you than like a lot of other people would. Like you with the kid, it was kind of okay, but like the older people are, they kind of want to stay away from you. You're covered in tattoos. You look like an older child, but like you're covered in tattoos and all of these things that aren't traditional or normal. So there's just something strange about you in that sense. Not to you, not strange to her either, but to people. They pick up on something weird about you, and they don't like it too much. So
they're weird.
Yeah, they're the weird ones, right?
Yeah.
It's normal for a 9-year-old with blue tattoos to walk through a town with a fox that keeps stealing chicken. What do you mean?
Obviously, cooked chicken.
Cooked chicken.
Obviously, this is normal. Don't you all have this in your town?
Exactly. Yeah. Every town should have one.
Obviously, yeah. It's tradition. Clearly.
The next morning, you're awoken by her as she's like, "Go, time now. Go, you, please, time now. Go."
Oh, okay. Bye.
She just waves at you as you walk out, but she doesn't like. It's not like a very confident wave or something like that. She's just kind of like, yeah, like kind of just, whatever. This will do you a favor, kind of thing. As you walk down, there's a carriage waiting for you. Westlin?
Yes.
Yeah, she did say you would stand out. Yeah.
I am standing.
Yes. Come on then, let's go.
Just kind of look back over my shoulder. Where is chicken?
We can get you chicken when we get there. We have all sorts of food. Do you want to eat chicken? Do we have to get you chicken before we go?
Oh, no.
Are you hungry?
I'm gonna
We have a sandwich. She just like opens a little pack of like food.
Start frantically like doing a little circle, doing a visual sweep. Where is the fox?
You look around and then you look towards the cart, and the fox takes the sandwich out of the cart and steps back slowly on the cart.
No steal.
Huh? Hey! It's a fox just jumps off with the sandwich.
Sorry. It's chicken.
No, I think it was egg salad.
What?
The sandwich. I don't think we had chicken.
Egg salad?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was egg salad, yeah. A delicacy on this island where it's not too warm.
Gross.
We should go. We can have this conversation on the road.
Okay. Get in the cart. Stick half of my body out the window if I can. To like wave wildly.
The fox is just throwing the last bit up and catching it in its mouth and just eating the like last bit of the sandwich. You wave wildly, not one person is looking at you. Like, goodbye, city! And then you look over, it's just nobody cares. Like, nobody's looking, nobody cares. But it's like
it's fancy. It's so fancy. Look at me.
You put your legs out, you've got loads of room. Like, the fox hops up and sits sort of beside you and then curls down underneath your legs, kind of in that space between the chair and your legs. As you're going, there's a place that you pass that has this stark memory for you as sort of one of the first places you kind of remember, if that makes sense. You went for a long journey, and this is where it ended. And as you proceed to go past it, it's a weird thing, because since you got here, you haven't gone further than this. It's almost a line in the sand that you haven't crossed. I see Mr. Finnegan in the back. That you haven't crossed. I'm so happy. And as you cross that line, there's a moment of just like, oh shit. Oh no, this is fine. This is okay. Kind of like the roller coaster thing, you know, you feel the build up, but then it's fine when you're done, you know? For most of
a little surge in gravity a little bit, you know?
Yeah. It's just a weird
equilibrium.
thing. Yeah. And as you continue forward, you make a long journey across this island where you converge with several different boats. All of these boats filled with people that head towards one point. What we're going to do is we're going to take a 2-minute break, and then I'm going to tell you where the fuck you are.
Woo.
Hell yeah.
Oh, damn.
Oh, damn.
Egg sandwiches for all.
Egg sandwiches for life.
God, no.
We need to get an egg sandwich sponsorship.
Want some of that chicken.
That's it.
That's going to be this campaign's Percy Pigs.
That's it, yeah. All right. Back in a few moments. Welcome back to the Wandering Isles.
Yeah, buddy.
As we'll start with Dash. As you approach, you're one of the first boats there. You step off and you look towards this big, beautiful, pristine building. It looks like it's carved out of the mountain itself. It looks like it's made of marble-escent stone, and the structure itself is probably the biggest building you've ever seen, and that's saying something. You come from a place that's forged from the stones of mountains and designs, and this is different. This is extravagant and beautiful, but it feels old. Very, very old. Other boats begin to emerge. You hear the dinging, a familiar sound that you would know. And you turn around as you're probably taken aback, just slightly, as a gentleman with a mask, an owl-shaped person, a woman with purple skin, and a man accompanying her with a long beard and horns emerges from a boat, and you've never seen anything like any of these before. Well, maybe the guy with the mask, but the others.
Not what I expected to see here. Interesting.
The owl trips. You
Always thought owls were graceful creatures.
Did you see a thumbs up with a feather? It's just Terminator style. As they all step off the ship. Right, well, let's get started then. And then he leads you towards a carriageway where there are like lots of these carts and carriages that are ready to take you somewhere, presumably to this fucking monolithic building.
I'll help the owl up.
Cool, you do. His bag pours out. You guys just keep doing the panola back.
Are you good? You good?
Yep.
Yeah.
Are you
okay,
good? You're good?
Yes,
Okay.
thank you. What's your footing?
One left, one right.
Yes, one after the other. Well done.
Yes. Good. Another boat approaches. This one is a darker boat. Quite like the colors are quite very dark oak, kind of even mahogany, kind of that varnish, that dark varnish you put on that. Emerging from that is a couple of people, but one in particular is wearing a mask, white hair, like a quite a leather suit on, we'll call it. Amadriana, you join the group. There's quite a few people standing around. It's not an unusual thing with just you people standing around. There's like lots of people, varying ages, styles. Everybody looks different. More ships begin to emerge. Slate, you arrive. Westland, you arrive. And together, for the first time, we have our party.
Amadriana takes a long time checking out each and every one of these individuals, noting potential weapons, their style, rings, anything of note. Even so much,
very similar as well.
even so much as looking at the style of shoes, because she might be able to tell where they come from based off their shoes.
Based on the shoes,
Do I know that he knows that I know that he knows?
based on the shoes, what you pick up is that Westland is either, you can tell me if you're wearing shoes or not, but I would imagine probably not.
Nope.
Hatsu is wearing very athletic, capable shoes, we'll call it. Not quite shoes, but something that would make him quieter than the average bear. Which is saying something, because I've watched you play Rust and get mauled by quiet, stealthy bears all the time.
Ninja bear.
Slate, you can tell me if I'm wrong here, but I would imagine possibly two different shoes. I don't even know. Like, to me, I don't know if Slate has that organization in him.
I'd say they look like some kind of a mixture between not so well tailored shoes, as in custom shoes, something that just look different, odd, but not well made. Just some unusual looking shoes.
Eos, what shoe? You wear heels. Is it purple heels? Is that right? Like, that's what I kind of imagine in my head, like kind of more.
I like kitten heels, but you may also notice that every part of her, from her gloves that she wears to the shoes, everything's intricately woven with fabric all the way up to the base of her neck.
Right.
That's the only part she leaves visible. Without the hood, of course.
And what I want you to do, Amadriana, is the first roll. I want to make a perception check active for me, please.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Ooh.
This is where everyone gets to see how terrible my rolls are.
There you go.
I've heard the legends.
That's strange. This all worked for
Oh, you're about to feel them.
You've heard the legends of Ryan's rolls?
Yep.
Oh, crap. Okay.
You got a 19. Okay. I'm having a bit of difficulty getting that cam working, but excuse me. You got a 19. Dash's shoes, out of everybody, are made to look opulent. They aren't opulent. They're made to look opulent.
I could add to that if you like.
Please, yeah, go ahead.
As well as the shoes, you would notice similarly the rest of the clothes made to look very fancy. But what you would spot is the fingernails, slightly chipped and dirty, and very raw working man's hands. Doesn't quite match.
Doesn't fit. Yeah, the pattern doesn't fit there, yeah.
Now, how big is how big is Dash? Like height, size? Sorry?
6 foot, about 90 kilos.
Okay, so he's got a little bit of breadth to him, but he's athletic. Okay.
Lean build, right? That's what I would take it as.
Yeah.
Yep.
I would
seeing,
like. Oh, go ahead, sorry.
I was seeing, obviously, him in a suit here like this.
Right.
There's that instant connection of, okay, a man in a suit being more than they are, kind of thing, or not being as much as they are. So she'll take in that the suit doesn't match the man, but she'll also make a mental note to not disregard that as weakness, though.
There's something else going on there that you probably can't put your finger on, but you understand by judging by these people that you might be one of the only ones who's noticing this. It's just something you note rather than that you, like, you're not looking at it with judgment. You're looking at it with curiosity. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, I'm learning.
You're learning. Yeah, you're taking that in. I would like to know what each of you are sort of doing and taking in here, much in the way that Ryan was just explaining it. I'd like to go around and hear from you guys how you perceive this place. You all see the same thing, the pristine monolith of a building in front of you. Purely stunning. You see a row of horses and carts waiting to take you. Eos Ducky is waiting there too, led off the boat. Like, that's... all of that is here. Like, there's nothing there that one sees above the other. Just the information that obviously Adriana took there, but... Adriana, sorry. Took there, but it's just... I'm still learning the names. But it's still like that. Like, it's still, for all of you taking in the same site, I'd like to know how that is for you.
Eos is walking towards Ducky, making sure he's okay after the journey. If anyone's keeping an eye on her, you know she's quite short, petite. To be perfectly fair, she's very slim. Her clothing is black, grey, navy, all shades of the night. Goes over towards Ducky, checks on him. Quick little brushing. Takes out like very old oak brush and just goes along while looking around.
Yeah.
Making sure that no one's keeping their eyes drawn towards her.
Yeah.
She's very, very aware of what she is.
Hatsu?
Go ahead, sir.
I would say Hatsu, as he left the ship and like kind of entered into the surrounding of the people that are standing there, he would have recognized that he's been watched, and he would take the opportunity while Boreal was tipping over his own toes, to kind of... his sword would be on the left side of his belt, and he kind of would grab his hands on the shaft of it. I know in Japanese it's called tsuba. It is like the ring which is on the top side where the thing is you grab.
Yeah.
And he would just put his thumb over it and just snaps it open, snaps it back. And while he was doing that, there's like a gust of wind going towards the directions people were observing him.
Yeah.
And he kind of does his like the hand like that way in front of his body, and he bows like a little bit. And he tries to blend into the group.
For your information, Busy, that's called a blade guard.
A blade guard, okay. That
Thank you.
That you're taking in, that moment that you take everything in, that moment that you also put out a silent warning to others that you're aware of your surroundings, is something that is received by a lot of people. Like, it's not like the right people. Like, it's not perceived by everybody, but the people who should notice that notice it. With Eos, I'd just like to confirm something. Is she feeling... So her natural skin color has been a problem for her whole life. She's purple, she has glowing eyes, that's a whole thing for her. Is she in her element because she sees all these other people, all these other people who aren't just... Like, she sees the Owlin, for example. Like, is she comfortable around that, or is this just weird for her? What is it for her? Like, what is she experiencing?
Anxiety 10,000.
Right. So you've got HUD up, you're just chill. Right, yeah, you're just... It's a lot. Right. Over stim. Got it.
That should be similar, actually, because he's not felt uncomfortable for quite a while. He's got quite good at feeling comfortable in very different spaces. This is not what he expected. This is very new.
Yeah.
A lot of entities around that he did not anticipate here, and he may not be visible, but he's scrambling to look to find his footing here.
Yeah. Like, that would be a big thing for him too.
It's like he would know what to look for say tells at a high society soiree. Like, you know where to look for who's got the valuables on them. Here he doesn't even really know where to look.
You get disrupted through your train of thought as well because you get nudged. You just hear a female voice, but coming from above you. Out of the way, short stuff. She knocks into you, and you look up, and it's a minotaur who is walking along this aisle. You've never seen anything like this before. She goes up to one of the carts. She's getting ready to go in. She looks considerably older, and she's talking to people. You get the impression she actually lives here and not that she is new here. She led one of the boats.
He'll just kind of almost stumble and catch himself and just try to compose himself, and yeah, he's just trying to take it all in.
Let's go with John. How's Wes feeling?
I mean, he's openly gawking at Eos.
Yeah.
And gawking at the owl person. Minotaur is too much. He shrieks out something in Thicket Tongue.
Yeah. Thicket Tongue, yeah.
Very, very excitedly, openly pointing, gesturing to you guys, gesturing to these three.
Yeah, like what the fuck? Right. Again, yeah, you wouldn't have seen anything like this before either. You've had experiences that are a little bit stranger, perhaps, but not this. This is...
No.
Nobody's comfortable
No.
with this. Yeah.
Fucking weird. I mean... Yeah, it's fucking weird. Look at these guys. He's prattling off in Thicket Tongue. Stops. Focuses on everyday. Big cow.
Big cow. Yeah, everybody here is a little bit different. There's humans here too. But a lot of people that are here are not what you would normally and typically see. Boreal for Hatsu would be the strangest thing he has seen, and he's seeing things here that are comparable to that emotion in him. Although he would compose himself differently than I would say Wesleyan is, where Wesleyan's gawking. I can't imagine Hatsu sitting there gawking, but I would say that this is something he's aware of. Yeah, but under the mask, so who knows? Slate, how are you getting on?
So, I get the picture that people are arriving from carriages, boats, whatever. There's these line of carriages waiting, and, the people who have brought them, like the Minotaur, who was one of the boat leaders, as you mentioned, they'd be bringing whoever their charges are over to the line of carriages. So I would assume, much like people waiting at a bus stop, there's beginning to be little congregations for each one. This is our congregation, but adjacent to us, there are several others. So with that in mind, our group are standing whatever way they're standing, in and around, looking at each other, talking, looking around. Slate is right beside them, but 1, maybe 2 feet back, and actually down on the ground, in a sitting position, almost tying the shoe with the bag in front of him. Every time somebody looks, he's either fixing a shoe or taking something out of his bag. What that means is everybody is looking upwards. Their eyes are drawn to each other's faces, so they're above him. So subtly from underneath, he's watching everybody else. Anytime somebody looks at him, it's a glancing look, because it feels rude to look down when you're in the presence of so many people so close to you.
Right.
So he just spends his time on the ground, drinking in everybody's face, everybody's mannerisms, just keeping an eye on everything. I'd say when he first arrived, it would have been that head pounding, heart thumping, doesn't feel right, doesn't feel safe. But quite quickly, he would think to himself, what is he used to? And if he closes his eyes and centers, it's like being a child on the playground. You're looking for somebody to play with, you just don't know who it is. You'll find them, they're here. And he's thinking to himself, he feels like the kid that's going to be picked last at basketball. So no one is really looking at him. He's there, and that's it.
While you're going through this, you don't notice this, but there are 2 eyes that do notice what you're doing. I would say that is Dash and Amadriana. Both of you can see someone because they're rummaging through their bag, and your instinct is to see what they're rummaging for, and is it a value or note. Both of you are drawn to that. There is about 3 more ships, I'd say, that approach. People of different ages, different sizes, different shapes. At this point, you're just like, I don't know, Wes is probably hyperventilating at this point because there's just so many weird things and stuff happening. This is bizarre, right? Yeah. This guy walks up to you. He's wearing this kind of like regal looking kind of cape on his back, and he has this big leather armor with fur that goes around his neck, but he has green skin, kind of waved back hair, and a beard that goes with it, grayed. He has long tusks, ears that come out, they're pierced. Hey. Are you just gonna stand there forever, or are you coming?
What?
He stands pretty tall. He looks like he's already out of patience. Look, you guys are with me. Come, let's go. You guys are together. Come on. He starts leading towards one of the carts.
Sorry, all of us here?
Was I talking past you or to you?
Just wanted to confirm. Of course.
Right, confirm it on the cart. Thank you.
Slate has already stood up and blended in with the group. He's already.
Perfect, yeah. He may not have even noticed that you were there.
Behind
yeah,
everybody, just
did it,
yeah.
As you guys are walking away,
I would say while they were talking and the guy was having his moment because he was pissed that he had to wait. I would say Hatsu would try to get into the cart unseen before everyone else, kind of to prove him a point.
Absolutely. Hatsu gets on the cart to kind of just to be there. So as they approach, he leans in. He's like, right, everybody. Okay, everybody, we're getting on. Right. And he starts to sort of count off and see how many people there are. Boreal immediately gets split from you, like instantly, like the second you guys arrive. He is being put on a different cart. You guys are all being merged onto one. But
is there any telltales of this guy? Like I'm reviewing him as I would do everyone.
He's wearing very regal clothing. Like he looks like someone who's fit to protect a king almost. He looks armored, ready to fight. He looks like someone who's been in a fight. He's got scars across his nose, his lip, his mouth, under his eye. He is a warrior. That's what he looks like. He looks like someone who can handle himself. Like, not in the way that, say, your father is. Your father is brute force strength. This is someone who has trained for this. This isn't someone who's just built like that. He works hard. With that in mind, Eos, you're being led to Ducky. That wasn't a coincidence. You feel a hand on your back. Are you going to be okay? You look around and the bearded fellow with the horns is leaning into you.
Oh, Rem.
Yes. Are you going to be all right?
It's just a lot. I'm used to books and shelves.
Yes.
Human, sure, whatever, but
we have those though. We have books and shelves. Yes.
Okay.
Some shelves have food. Some don't. He then sort of says, I will see you in the meeting hall. Just find your comfort zone, make friends. This place is safe. You're protected here. He walks up to the front cart and there's a bunch of people there. The Minotaur is there and stuff like that. They're clearly discussing like layouts and plans. He's giving orders of who gets onto what, stuff like that. He seems to be someone of note here. You all begin to like board your various carts. Boreal is like, wait, no, I'm supposed to be with, and then he just gets pushed onto the cart. Like he's trying to get back to Hatsu, but like Hatsu's got other thing, and like he can't even see it. He doesn't know. So like you all begin to board. Just as the door's about to close, he's like, what the fuck? And he opens the door again, and a fox hops on with chicken, like a roast chicken. Where
Don't
and how?
steal.
Yeah, he just hops on. And he's like, I fucking hope that wasn't my roast chicken. He just slams the door and he walks up and he sits on the front of the cart. The cart begins to move. Sorry, go ahead.
Lucky follows.
Clever animal.
question, just as a point of order. You know, while this has all gone on, he's arrived, looks regal, he's chatting to people, he's talking to us, he's going back and forth. Has he at any point given a name, or has anybody said his name, or has any of that transpired that any of us would have heard in any way?
Not that I know of. I think Eos a few minutes ago said, oh, Rem, I think is what you just said. So you may have heard from that his name is Rem. Yeah.
Cool.
The green fella.
Horn guy.
No, not the horn. The horn guy, the purple guy, is called Rem. The green fellow, they haven't said the green fellow's name, and he hasn't introduced himself, and he's not the kind who would. Like, you'll remember him. He's not worried about it.
Yeah, that's what I was asking about. That's fine. Yeah.
Sorry. Okay. So you make your way on the journey on the cart, and it's going to take a little bit to get there. As big as this building is, it gets bigger and bigger as you approach it. It is a massive building. This is built into the mountain itself. This is the biggest building any of you have ever seen by a long shot, because it may be the biggest building available to anyone on these isles. You sit awkwardly in the cart. There's a little bit of silence. Who's going to be the first to talk?
Hi.
Immediate.
Good morning, young fellow.
Uh,
Well met. I'm Dash. Who are you?
Dash. Weslin.
Weslin. Pleasure.
Hello. Hi.
Hold up my hand.
Oh. I'm not really sure what to do with that. So I hold out my hand.
And okay, and I'll show him how to do a handshake. Pleasure to meet you, Wes.
Hello. Hi.
Is that your fox that stole the chicken?
Chicken?
Yes. With the fox?
Steal bad. Sorry.
It depends who you're talking to. But yes. Does he always steal chicken?
Yes. Always. Don't know where, but chicken.
Chicken
is good. Is good, Red Dog.
Tail wags at Red Dog.
Yes. Good Red Dog, and I'll try to pet the fox. Give it a little scritch.
Leans into you and then just kind of sniffles a little bit and then sneezes on your kind of leg, greasy chicken sneeze.
Oh, good boy.
You could have gone for the mouth, Roper.
Could have gone for the mouth. I have to build up to it.
Hot.
Is there anyone else on the cart aside from the party?
No, it's just you guys. It's what a coincidence.
Something I feel like I should add here. Despite the artwork, how you see Amadriana is in this uniquely leather armored, like kind of bodice almost, and almost like a second layer of skin over her.
It's quite thin,
yeah. And it leads down into the leather armored pants that lead into the boots. But her back, you see this overly large leather pouch that runs from the top of her shoulders all the way down to just above the base of her back. And so she sits in like that. I figured that was something I should say, so that you guys are aware of how she actually looks.
I would imagine quite good posture as well, tall, straight posture. Yeah.
She sat dead straight, we're talking leg straight and stuff.
Yeah.
Oops. I would turn to Amadriana. That is a wonderful outfit. Custom made, I assume?
It was.
It is.
As I am assuming yours was too.
Oh, yes, absolutely. My mother is a tailor, one of the best in Palbroth. So
Did she sew your new blue jeans?
Great.
I'm sure she is a good tailor, yes.
Yes, absolutely. She'll be very impressed by your how you're put together. It's magnificent. Well done. My name is Dash. Might I inquire your name?
She gives him a look, trying to register if that's really his name.
Make an insight check if you want.
Okay.
With a 5, you do not really get much from that.
Nothing at all. It's almost like a word. Nothing at all.
It's hard to see past his charm. He's very charming the way he speaks. It's really hard to get past that demeanor.
This certainly wouldn't be the sort of gentleman that she would be used to dealing with by any means.
Like, so far out of class for both of you. Like, you're both from very, like, you're both sides of that spectrum. Everything else falls between the two of you. Like, different worlds.
Yeah. My name is Amadriana.
Well met, Amadriana. Fantastic name. That is very unique. Not one I've come across before. Might I ask, if it's not too much of an inquiry, where do you hail from?
I come from a little city on a fairly unknown island. I'm sure you probably wouldn't have heard of it, but maybe over time I'll show you where it is, maybe.
Keep your cards close to your chest. Very wise. Very wise.
Indeed.
I'll just kind of turn to the rest of the group. Sorry, didn't mean to begin a conversation without the rest of you. Hope you all had pleasant journeys coming here. Dash is really trying to find his feet here, and he's used to being in a crowd, but also not being the center of attention, so he's trying to get the conversation going so it's not just him talking.
Hatsu kind of picks up that he's kind of nervous, and while he took like the back seat on the right side of the cart, like leaning towards the door and the wall, so because in his mind he will pick a place where he could escape easily if he has to.
Yeah.
So he boarded in, like getting his sword out of the belt, and it's kind of leaning on his leg, like it's tipped on the bottom of the cart, and it's leaning towards his leg a little. And he looks like to the side to Dash, and he just does this like prayer hand and just nods slightly, doesn't say anything.
I assume I see that. In which case I would catch the eye, and I would kind of match that back, kind of take note of, okay.
Yeah. You just try and emulate that. Yeah.
Emulate, reciprocate. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, reciprocate. Yeah. What about, say, Eos or Slate? That answers everything.
So, Slate is obviously enjoying the weather.
To all of you, this feels good. Like, the climate feels right to all of you. You all come from different walks of life. It's not something you're conscious of. It just feels right. It feels good.
And I think whatever it is about the breeze, it feels a little warmer, you know, so much so that when you feel slightly hot, you kind of get slightly flushed. So he's looking warmer. He would be, to everybody else, I suppose I'd be looking out into the distance and just taking in the scenery on a nice carriage ride. In reality, it's like somebody who's been brought to the start of a race. They've been showed the finish line, and they're being brought by carriage to the front to start the race. So he's working out the paces, the distance, how fast he can run, how quickly, how far, taking in this tree, that tree of note, things like that in his own head.
You take in all the sights, the sounds, the smells. You're paying a lot of attention to what people are also taking in. Like, you're thinking about those things actively. In most cases, most people wouldn't, but you are. Eos. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, as Slate is a very kind of, obviously a very thoughtful person, as in they're obviously thinking a lot most of the time. Does he have any, like, tick or, like, is there, like, you know how someone, if they're thinking a lot, if they're that type of person, they might have like a Like, something to do with their hands or their feet, or does Slate have anything like that?
If you've ever shaved your head or shaved your hair, cut your hair, shaved your beard, when you start getting that small bit of growth back, you get that little itch, and because his hair is short, it's like it's been shaved recently. He gets that little itch, quite a lot going on, that he just finds himself absent-mindedly scratching his hair, like it's just being cut, it's just regrown, it's just bad hair, something like that. He just gets that itch, not all the time, but regular enough that it might be slightly noticeable if you were looking.
Okay, cool.
Eos is sitting on the chair, but her legs are crossed underneath her. She's trying to lean against the side a bit. Checked in Ducky, now she's just kind of trying to nod off her nap a bit. She's so uncomfortable, she just wants to sleep through the journey.
Fair, yeah. So, you...
And on the hilt of the rapier, just in case.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, you take in the introvert side of that. Like, you're more present about yourself than what everyone else is doing. So where Slate is almost the opposite of that. He's taking everything outwards in. You're just trying to protect the inward. That's it. The journey goes for a little while longer as you approach, and there is this, whoever's sitting at the back looking forward, you can start to see how magnificently large this is. The pillars are bigger than the cart, like in width. Like it's a tremendously large building carved basically from this mountain. This place is referred to in a name that you pick up when you're exiting the cart as the Crescent Pearl. The Crescent Pearl is not a term that any of you have ever heard. It's actually a little bit surprising, given the size of this place, the fact that the sands beneath you are white, like they are pearlescent, I guess. They are, like, this place should be documented. It should be known, but never read a book, never heard of it, not until the invitation showed up. The same confusion seems to be on the people getting out of the other carts as well. And as you all line up and prepare to enter the foyer of this massive building, what's going through your minds?
Ducky won't be allowed in here.
Ducky's being led to a stable with the other horses, so you can probably find out later and reunite, yeah.
I'm looking to see if anyone is surprised to see me.
No, nobody's really paying attention to you, but there's a lot going on. Like, the whole situation isn't... Like, they're not looking actively for things, they're just trying to make sure that everybody's here. And they're trying to get everybody off the carts, and they're trying to move things forward, and the carts are being taken away slowly, and there's a lot going on that's... Yeah, like, there's too much going on.
And I checked to see that I still have my invitation.
You do, yeah, you do. I had to think about it for a second, but you do. Yeah.
I made Gianna would
Atsu...
be... Oh, sorry, go on, Busy.
Yeah, you can go ahead, buddy.
So Magiana would be kind of looking at this and would be very definitely not showing it in any way. But she would equally be as fearful as she is in awe of something like this because of its grandeur, because of the amount of people that are going in and out that don't seem to be in any way discontent with each other, but more so in a strange way how bright it is.
It is, yeah.
Like, it's not just that the light is brighter here, the feeling and the air around it feels brighter.
Also, the color of the buildings for you would be different, and this material you're walking on would be different. You don't have beaches where you are. You don't have sand. You don't have that kind of thing. You're from a city. You're a city girl. This is different to you, you know?
Yeah.
You're all led into the foyer, where you see multiple people standing at the front of the room. The crowd starts to form around this foyer area, facing towards the center of the room where this kind of stage raised thing is. It's like a stairwell, but it's just a couple of steps, then it goes back, then a couple of steps, but they're just using that as the platform to greet you and speak to you. Instinctually, people from the carts tend to break off and speak to each other, and you guys just happen to be in a group that's kind of not intentionally standing together, but you're together, like you just instinctually went that way.
At this point, I'd like to take a specific action, if I may.
Yeah, of course.
Upon seeing us breaking off into the two groups of the us and them, the them that presumably were here before and brought us here, and the us being everyone of all the different types who've just been brought here,
yeah,
I'd like to specifically draw my attention to the them. And I would like to take from my pack my horn, and I would like to blow it.
Okay.
Specifically, what I'm watching for, what I'm thinking internally as I do this, it's not a theatrical thing, it's not long, it's literally short, loud, and immediately putting it away before everyone's even realized it's happened. But the whole point of it is to look and watch their reaction. I'm looking to see how they respond to a sudden sharp sound, something that's not in keeping with the jovial laid-back atmosphere, the coming and going, the casual chat. You know, I've observed people already resting hands on hilts of weapons. I've felt that myself, so I want to see how they respond with the immediacy of an action like that. I'm not so much interested in any of us who've just arrived. Yeah. You
blown the horn, and all the chatter in the room and then the hallway that's echoing down these halls and stuff just comes to a stop. And there's a concerned look among the people that are standing up away from you guys, and there's concerned looks about the crowd that are confused, and they're like looking around. And then you heard a voice. Yes, well, thank you. That's one way to get everybody's attention, I suppose. Thank you. The gentleman who was traveling with Eos for most of this journey steps forward among the group of people standing up there. Purple skin, horns, white hair, white beard, this beautiful amulet around his neck, purple robes that are just magnificent, opulent above opulent. Welcome. This is my Arcanum. My name is Remington Maleficum. Yes, of that Maleficums. And immediately you all know that one of the 4 emissaries of Paragon, her last name was Maleficum, and she started this school. And it's immediately visible as you look at the etchings on the walls and the stories that are being told through the annals of these hallways. You're standing in history.
He also leaves out a great sigh of relief, and her posture relaxes.
Yeah.
Slate likewise.
You were all called here for a good reason. We have seen something in you that deemed you worthy, or we were informed about you and we learned of something worthy. We appreciate that some of you might be lost or confused, scared. This is natural. You are being taken from your homes into a place you don't know, with people you don't know. I did my best to send the right people for you, to collect you or to inform you. Or in the cases where I was told about you, I did my best to make it as comfortable a journey as you could have. Wes, you see the fox crouching behind these guys, just like eyeing them up and like sizing them up, just kind of like Just like looks across.
No.
It tiptoes away, like tick, 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 tick. I would like you to introduce you to the staff of the Arcanon. You will get to know some of these people quite well over the course of the next few days, months, weeks, years, as long as you're willing to be here. Out in the big wide world, there are magical people out there who are heroic by nature that you may not have heard of, and there are some that you may. There are some that have fallen and left behind an impact on this world at a good or bad legacy. Whether or not you realize it, but you are walking in their shoes. And I have no intention of failing any of you. I will help you find the right path. And when you leave this place, you will leave not only with the knowledge and the importance of self-worth that you should have, but you will leave with a license to be who you want to be, where you want to be, something to verify that you have learned to control that which makes you special. Contrary to popular belief, all of you are not cursed. This is a blessing. And I strive to teach you that. He points over to the first person who's standing there. There's this small blonde woman, very short frame. She has bright blue eyes, and she has what looks like a kind of a lute on her back, but it only has like 4 or 5 strings. It's kind of like nylon instead of kind of a metal that would be typical. This is Angie Creed. Some of you will get to know her quite well. She is responsible for a lot of things, from music to history, and she will teach a lot of magic-based classes as well. There are important stories of these isles that you are not privy to, things that have been buried, but we have maintained that history. I'm always on the lookout for knowledge about how these isles came to be and where they came from. You will find that this place is very open, and she will help you find that information. Next, we have Chance Artifice. He has a very unique skill set, and he steps forward, Chance does, and steps forward and takes the form of Remington, who he just stands there and he bows kind of a little bit, and then he steps back, taking his form again, his normal form. Next, this small girl, she kind of has these, she's just a small frame. She has her horns that are curling around, but when she steps forward, you realize that she also has the legs of a goat. This is Delphine. She will be emotional support for a lot of you. He goes on to start listing all of these people, so I'll kind of move a little bit forward a little bit quicker, but I can help you guys with your notes later if I go too quick. Points to what looks like just kind of quite a normal person. She has kind of pale skin and kind of white blonde hair, like really light blonde hair. This is Dreama. The next one is this large guy. He looks kind of more, not like a minotaur as such, but more like cow-like features with like horns and stuff. A little bit different to the other one. This is Evius Contuence. I'll give you spelling on that later. Continuance, sorry. He points to another fellow who is quite blue all over his skin and has these cracks in it, and there's this kind of almost water kind of moving between the cracks. This is Gig Schneezik. I will definitely give you the spelling of that later.
That's a great name.
Points to the bull figure, that the female bull figure that knocked into Dash earlier. This is Helga Daunt. Points to another kind of like a taller, more proud kind of woman, but she's wearing like old gear that would be more familiar to probably someone like Hatsu and Eos from their region. This is Isobel Dos. Points to the green fellow who drove your cart. This is Curtin Stewart. Points to This person looks almost ethereal, like they're human, but their hair is kind of floating up and drifting, like pure white hair. The skin is almost like Slate's would be. The eyes are kind of like faded and stuff like that. This is Marden Nightingale. So Marden, Marden.
Okay.
There are a few teachers who aren't present, and he makes a point of that he will introduce them the next time. He introduces this woman. She has kind of darker skin, long brown hair, these beautiful brown eyes. She has a very thin armor underneath that looks like it's made of almost a sheen of metal, like a sheet that is just bent around her skin. But it has these blues and these intricate browns and these colors to it that make it really pop. And then she wears a red kind of robe around. This is Nur Al-Hikmah. I will, again, give you these names later so you don't have to stress.
Thank you.
And then, of course, there's Remington. And he points out that there are two that are missing. One is called Mildred Shades, and the other is Piper Flips. And they will be here later. Each of you came in a cot. I would ask that you follow the rider of that cot, the teacher that was there. They will take you to your dormitory. As the crowd sort of separates, go ahead. Yeah.
So Dash should be looking at this point. Is he the only human in the vicinity?
There are a couple of teachers and a couple of people in the crowd that are human. Yeah.
But in this situation, would they be the minority?
Oh yeah, you were the minority here for sure. Yeah. You've
Just
never
to
been in
add to
this
that.
situation. Yeah.
How the turntables?
Yeah. Just to add to that, you wouldn't necessarily know what a Madriana was.
Yeah, there's people with masks on. Hatsu as well, you wouldn't know. There's the masks and stuff. And there's a few people throughout the crowd who have masks or things. Not unusual, especially among people who may have different features or may just not want to be seen. Like, those are things. There is no understanding, I guess, of that. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
When Marden Nightingale came out, whoever is nearby Eos may have heard her say something in Seraphic. Just FYI.
Oh, sick. Okay, yeah. Each of you steps forward into your respective groups. So, Hatsu, you look across and you see Boreal standing with another group, and he's like looking towards you, and then his bag falls off and like opens and stuff, and he's just huffing all that stuff back up. As you walk down the hallways of this building, you can see that it is emblazoned with history. You can see that it was made with love and care and dedication and time, and it got better over time, and people worked on this building together. This is a place that's loved up by a lot of people. A lot of hands worked on this place. As we proceed through our campaign, the beginning of this will be set here, in the Arcanum of Magic and Might. This Arcanum will be a base for you guys, a place to learn who you are and who you want to be, and to figure out your characters before you really, really take the gloves off on this campaign. We'll discuss more the rules and variant rules we'll be using throughout this campaign in the weeks to come, but I'm going to give you guys a feeling for it over your time here. Get to know each other, get to know the things about this place, because this place holds a lot of sentiment to a lot of people, and there's a reason for it. Your classes, for those who are wondering, will be whatever your proficiencies are. If you're proficient in a weapon, you will be going to that weapons class. If you're proficient in history, you'll be going to history class. If you're proficient in stealth, you'll be going to a training class for that kind of thing. If you have powers, you will be going to classes to help manage those powers. My focus won't primarily be those classes, although we will discuss them. My focus is you. This campaign has been in the works for 3.5 years, 4 years. We've built towards this, and in the last year or so, I've been talking about it a lot and picking the right people for this, and getting videos done and putting pressure on poor Rory to do things every 2 seconds, and pushing Kian to do my socials and do all sorts of things to promote this and to build this, because this moment right here is what all of that was for, and this is what I wanted to see. I couldn't be happier with who's sitting at my table, and I am very fucking excited for next week when we pick up our session and you get to explore this Maleficum's Arcana of Magic and Might, the centerpiece of the Wandering Isles. Welcome to your campaign, boys.
Fuck yeah!
Can't wait to steal some chickens.
Yeah.
Stealing's bad.
Yeah.
I
Also,
have a
for
feeling
the
you're going to say
viewers-
that a lot.
I'm
Yeah.
adopting that fox. Like,
Yeah. I think we all are.
yeah.
For the viewers as well, keep an eye on the socials as well coming up, because run by our wonderful Kian here, because there will be an announcement soon of maybe a couple of little interviews with each of the cast members to
Perhaps we should
see what
open up
they're
the
about.
Discord to perhaps some questions if people want to do it.
that would be a great idea.
FYI, viewers, same wandering place, same wandering time. This time next week.
I think that typically we're going to end this on an ending screen, but given the session that it is and the day that it is and the amazing work that went into it, I think we should show the video one more time, maybe.
100%. Do it.
Hell yeah, let's
Absolutely.
go.
We continue this
Really
next
want
week.
to.
This will be a weekly campaign, and I look forward to seeing you all there, and I really look forward to playing with you boys at the table. This is going to be something special, something different, and something new for all of us, and I really can't fucking wait. You guys put in a shit ton of work. We all did. I can't wait to see the fruit of that labor. Thank you so much. I really, really super appreciate everyone being here. That was crazy. We did really, like, I saw the chats that we were doing really well on the top page of Twitch and all of this stuff, and I really appreciate that. That's unbelievable for a first stream. So thank you so much.
I think for people watching and engaging, after when we finish in the next couple of days, that's when
Yeah.
we'll be reading through what was happening, replying to stuff, following up with what you might have said. Even if we don't say it, we'll know all about it. So just know that we will look,
We always pay
just
attention
because
to
we
that
didn't say
stuff.
anything about it today.
Yeah, we always pay attention to that stuff. We're pretty active on talking to people and communicating and stuff like that. So looking forward to meeting a lot of new
DM sees
faces.
everything.
But if you do have those burning questions, though, click on that social link, come over to the Discord,
Yeah.
ask those questions away. If we can answer, we will, of course.
Absolutely. I'm really excited for all of this. This is going to be fun as hell. So keep those stories coming and keep the legends alive. And let's watch the incredible story so far video by our wonderful Rory. And we'll see you guys next week. Take care.
Bye, guys.
Long ago, in the world of Araness, magic once danced in the air and coursed through the veins of every being. It was a time of grandeur, but also of chaos, as people vied for dominance using the essence of magic itself. This contest of powers led to the Fracture, a cataclysmic event that shattered the weave of magic, leaving the world broken and alone. As the dust settled, Araness was born once again, but at a great cost. Magic vanished, not to whisper in the wind for over 75 years, until the birth of 4 individuals who would come to be known as the emissaries of Paragon. These heroes became the defenders, wielding magical abilities to protect these lands. Yet in their final battle, known as the Battle of the Emissaries, their power nearly raised the world anew. The city of Timaroth was obliterated, and with it, the heroes and their legacy. Now, over a millennia later, magic is a rare curse, feared and regulated by those in power. The world stands at the crossroads, haunted by its past, yet there are those who are yearning for a future where magic and peace can coexist. As our tale unfolds, the weave of magic stirs once more, hinting at a renaissance. There are those who believe that this is a sign that they are doomed to repeat history's darkest day, possibly on a scale that fractures the world itself. Araness is on the cusp of a new era, one that could potentially be of harmony, or one that threatens to plunge it into chaos once again. Our story begins here, in a world on the edge of change, where new heroes are destined to rise, shaping the fate of Araness and its magic forevermore. Join us as we embark on this journey through these lands, where legends live and die by the sword, where every choice echoes through the annals of time, and the fate of the world hangs in the balance. Welcome to the Wandering Isles.